part of our Monday show in the 12 o'clock hour. And we've actually got a pretty exciting announcement for what we're going to be doing on Monday shows after this week, a little bit later on. So that'll come up from 10 after 12 until approximately 1 o'clock, and then we'll come back for the last 2 hours of the show. Did you manage to stay healthy this weekend? Did you not get injured? If you played in an NFL game? Oh, yikes.
Wow,
tough one
big
there.
Big names too, Hanny.
Big names. If you're a 49er fan, yikes. What a tough weekend for you there. Did you blow a big lead? Are you a Falcon?
Well,
are you
kind of used to that in Texas?
You a Greenie?
When they play in Texas, they kind of blow those leads.
What was worse? The Falcons blowing a 20-point lead in the first quarter, 19-point lead at the half, 15-point lead with a little under 8 minutes to go, or Tulane blowing a 24-0 halftime lead?
That's a great question. And the Falcons, because of their prior history, they kind of that's who they are. Tulane blows a 24-point lead against a team that can't throw a forward pass. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, these two long bombs in the middle of the field. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. If you're down 24 points to Patrick Mahomes, it's like, well, they got a chance to come back because he can throw a deep ball. When you're up 24 against Navy, you think there is no way in hell they can come back because they're going to run the fullback dive 17 more times.
And the fullback dive busted some big,
which brings a tear to a glass eye.
Big runs there. Did you see Coach O on 60 Minutes?
I did.
I thought it was a really good.
I love getting the inside look into Power Hour.
First time I've ever seen that. You may have been.
I've seen it a couple times in person, but it's been like real quick to actually see it and be able to share that. It's pretty awesome. There's an energy when you're in that room.
That was really cool. But what was the best part of the piece?
Oh, his mom,
Miss Coco was great.
Yeah,
this was great. She stole the show last night.
What do you remember about LSU beating Alabama last year?
You know, I love their stadium. I don't care for what the people say. They're kind of loud and boisterous. But when we won, I enjoyed the living hell out of it.
I'm getting a sense of what it must be like to sit on that couch and watch a game with you.
Oh, come on down.
Miss Coco is, if you're from South Louisiana, she's everybody's grandmother. She's everybody's aunt. She is a Cajun woman from down the bayou, and we all. I say we all. If you're from here, if you've grown up here, you lived here, you probably know or related to somebody like Miss Coco. Okay, she is a dyed-in-the-wool Cajun woman. Is family, food, and football.
Yep.
Okay, in that order. She was great. I thought the piece was very positive for LSU.
My wife and I were talking about this as we were having breakfast this morning. I realized that the Coach O's voice is unique, but can we please stop talking about it? That's who he is. That's where that man is from.
Yeah.
Can we move on from the way he sounds? And I realize it's a national piece. They don't necessarily cover him on a day-in, day-out basis, and we hear him talk all the time, but who cares? He's a hell of a football coach. Can we just talk about that and not his voice?
You know, as long as they're not, making fun of him, okay? Listen.
The gargling crawfish shells, I was like, come on.
Okay. I didn't think it was too bad. Not like that piece in the was it the BYU game or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Okay, that was just blatantly, just it's awful, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really bad. People have different accents. If you're from Boston, okay,
yeah.
you have an
Pat
accent.
Bradley on Friday.
If you're from New Mexico or Arizona and you're Hispanic, you have a certain accent. If you are like our friends from Samoa that have been on the football team, you have a certain accent.
I think
sometimes
our state more than any other state has the most like if you're from St. Martinsville, you got one. If you're from Metter, you got one. If you're from Shreveport, you've got one. If you're from Houma, you've got. I mean, we're all over the place. If you're from Chalmette, TJ, hear me?
Right.
You're Chalmatian, right? You got a different accent.
So I thought it was, by and large, it was a very positive piece. You never know where those things might go. Great, a day in the NFL with just a ton of really, really interesting games. Again, the injury toll is pretty stout, and we'll get to all of that. Saints, Monday Night Football, they open in Las Vegas. They open the new Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas tonight. We're going to talk about that. Lakers hit. Anthony Davis hits a buzzer beater. That was what I watched after the or during. I forgot exactly when. The Seahawks and Patriots last night was really, really good.
Great game.
Compelling theater. Come down to the last play of the game. And then you watch on the other side, the Nuggets almost got back, but Davis hits the game winner and the Lakers go up 2-0. I didn't even get to watch any of the U.S. Open. DeChambeau wrecked the field. Yeah. That's ordinarily – I would be watching the last round of the U.S. Open, but I'm not going to watch it over football. So what was –
Did it feel like normal? I mean, as close to normal in 2020 as you can, because we were sitting there and we were having an early dinner, and y'all know we got some Chiefs and Chargers fans in my house, and my oldest and my 7-year-old were arguing over football, right? My oldest is talking trash, and I'm like, hey, it's inevitable. They're going to come back. Like, you better watch out. Like, I'm rooting for the Chargers too. And it just felt like normal. Like, we were arguing over football, watching NFL afternoon 3 o'clock kicks.
It's a wonderful thing to argue about.
Yes. I didn't even get on to him. I'm like, please, argue more.
Yes,
do
right.
It. This feels normal.
You're talking about that. We got a longer day of college football, but this week with the SEC, now college football really starts for us. Pregame coverage, 9:30 Saturday morning. We'll be on LSU and Mississippi State. But no, it felt like we got a little bit longer. We had an interesting game on Saturday night between Louisville and Miami. Not so much if you're on Louisville's defense, but everybody else in the game.
Remember we talked about day one installs last week? There's a couple of coverage day one installs that they absolutely blew. 2 big ones. Miami, credit to them. Hey, you're Miami Hurricanes. You and Hunt's Miami Hurricanes. Capitalize.
Well, I didn't. I thought it was pretty much a coin flip game. I really thought it'd probably be a 3 to 7 point game, one way or the other. I didn't expect. I watched Miami against UAB and thought, okay, better with De'Aaron King running the offense, but certainly doesn't look, smooth. It's still got a little ways to go, but they looked pretty good the other night. Some teams have looked a lot better than we ever thought. The Jacksonville Jaguars come immediately to mind. Won in week 1 against what we think is a good Colts team and almost won yesterday. Gardner Minshew was good again. Buffalo goes to 2-0. The Packers, who had been kind of left for dead, they go to 2-0. We've seen the Cardinals. The NFC West is salty right now. The Cardinals and the Rams both go to 2-0. And then we got some really bad football teams. The Giants are a mess. The Jets are worse. The Lions maybe worse than either one of them.
The Eagles.
The Eagles looked. They looked awful. I really expected them to bounce back. That was one of the bigger surprises for me. Baltimore looked really good. That's 2 good wins for them. We got a lot to get to, but we're going to get to Coach O first. So we'll have the press conference for you. We'll be back at 1 o'clock. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Say hello to Cade Wazan, Playboy Marty, working the board with us today. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The following is an exclusive presentation of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Getting ready for another week of LSU Fighting Tiger football.
Fires a bullet inside the end zone. Give me the sign. Give me the sign. Touchdown, Tigers!
Welcome in to the Coach O press conference, presented by McDonald's.
Tell the truth, Monday, I can't wait to see our team today.
A recap of last week and a look ahead to the battle coming up.
Always knew at LSU that you have to win. I know the expectation of LSU is to win, and my goal has always been to win at LSU.
Now, to get things started, from the LSU Sports Radio Network Capital One Studios, here is former Tiger Gordy Rush and the voice of your Fighting Tigers, Chris Blair.
Well, it is finally here. It is game week. for the defending national champion Fighting Tigers of LSU. Welcome in, Tiger fans, for the first Coach O press conference of the season, brought to you today by McDonald's. Along with Gordy Rush, I'm Chris Blair. Coach O will address the media for week number 1 as the Tigers and the SEC enter the ring of college football this coming weekend. And Gordy, basically every college football fan has really been waiting for this weekend. I mean, you know, the SEC gets underway. It just so happens that 6 of the most recent AP Top 25 are SEC teams. So I think we all can now say college football is about to begin.
We are excited for some football down here indeed. Mike Leach and Mississippi State come to Tiger Stadium to open it up. Kevin, can I tell you this, Chris? No non-conference games this year. So right off the bat, you're thrown into a division rival. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, again, it's 114th meeting between the Bulldogs and Tigers will open up the season at Tiger Stadium. 2:30 kickoff, televised on CBS. We'll have the coverage for you right here along the network. And, Gordy, you know, when we've had a chance to be around Coach O the last couple of weeks, really since the start of preseason camp, visited with him last week on his weekly radio show, been to a couple of the scrimmages. It's really amazing, and I want to give kudos. And again, I am the first one to admit I look at everything through purple and gold lenses, so I'll preface by saying that. But I've really been impressed with where they are and how they've gotten to get ready for this opening game, because looking at the last couple of weeks, it doesn't look all that different than what they would look like last year, the year before, and when you consider all they've been through and all the hurdles that everybody that wants to play college football has had to go through, it's pretty remarkable.
I think Coach O has done a fantastic job of listening to the experts, right? That being Jack Marucci and Shelley Mullenix and his staff, and they have all the precautions in place out here, Chris. They've been very safe. They've taken care of things. They've adapted their schedule to fit that, meaning 5 practices a week. They take weekends off and all the right steps. So with all the distractions that's going on outside the world, he's been able to keep this team focused, Chris. And I'm with you. That's what I've been impressed with. They've installed a new defense. The offense looks very similar. Hopefully Miles Brennan and company ready to pick up on the same thing that they got done with Joe Burrow there. Really been impressed with what I've seen on the field.
Well, obviously, Coach O mentioned the first preseason scrimmage. It was defense's kind of time to rise and shine, and he was impressed with that because, again, he is a defensive coach, so he's always going to like that. But then in the second preseason scrimmage, we saw some big plays and really some great individual performances on the offensive side of the football, which he also was pleased about that. I know last Friday was kind of a walkthrough, a mock game, if you will, a couple of different scenarios that they wanted to batten everything down. But again, when you look at this team and the weapons they have, the talk around the country is, well, LSU lost their entire 2-deep, or at least their starting first string. But man, oh man, they've replaced them. And when you've recruited the way the Tigers have, it shouldn't come as a surprise that everybody's excited to see what this offense is going to do.
That's exactly right. They put a lot of starters into the NFL, but as you've mentioned, a lot of people come back with valuable experience. Racey McMath, the 3 tailbacks. I'm excited to see all 3 of them, Chris Curry, Ty Davis-Price, and John Emery, and, of course, Miles Brennan. Miles Brennan now has been in his program for 3 years. He's on his 4th year. He's familiar with what to do and what have you. So very talented football team, and I think they're going to be very explosive on offense.
You know, last Wednesday, talking with Coach O, it was interesting. I think a lot of people paid attention to what he said. This time last year, or at least this time before the start of last season, we talked about all the weapons, but you and I sat on this show, and we talked about the team will go as far as the offensive line can take it, right. And that was the biggest question mark. I point-blank asked Coach O Wednesday night, is the offensive line the biggest question mark for 2020? And he gave a quick and resounding no. They may be one of the strengths of this team.
Well, it's interesting because they again return people that have played and been around. Ed Ingram, very well could have been in the NFL draft last spring. And as he was 2 years ago, I thought he was the most talented offensive lineman that was on the football team. Deculus has played a lot of football. Dare Rosenthal, he's played some football now. You get Shanahan in as the transfer. You've got some guys that have played college football. The question is, how quickly can they gel and also gel with Miles Brennan, the new quarterback, because of this offense? Ball's coming out quick. The protection calls come quick. And so all 6 of those guys, how quickly do they gel?
Coach O press conference presented by McDonald's here for week number 1 coming up at the bottom of the hour, 12:30. Coach O will join us, and he will also be addressing the media, taking their questions in preparation of the matchup with Mississippi State. Gordy, you've had a chance to be around a lot of the coaches here. Always the first game you're concerned about the little stuff, the details, penalties, turnovers, substitutions on time, clock management, all the little things that sometimes you take for granted when you just want to talk offense and defense. Do you get a sense there's anything they're worried about? As you pointed out, not only is it at the opening game, which is always a challenge, right, but it's an SEC game against a rival in Mississippi State.
Right. You jump right into the frying pan, and I think that's why we saw that walk-through scrimmage, if you will, walk-through in Tiger Stadium. Usually you will do that. That was a little bit more extensive that I've seen in the past. And, Chris, here's why. I think with 71 scholarship players, or the numbers that they have right now, you have a lot of young people that are going to play. You'll play more young people this year, more inexperienced people that are going to have to probably play bigger roles. Now, hopefully LSU stays healthy, and I think staying healthy this year is especially important with an all-SEC schedule. So, yes, you want to go through these dress rehearsals and make sure everybody knows where to go when the lights go on because, again, you're starting with SEC play. You don't have a chance to make those mistakes in a non-conference game.
Let's talk about defense coming up in the next segment. We'll take a break in just a few moments. We'll talk a little bit about Mississippi State, get a preview on the Bulldogs before Coach O takes over at the bottom of the hour. But defensively, I know that you were a fan, as we all were, of Dave Aranda and his style. You certainly are familiar with Bo Pelini and his first stop here at LSU. But from what you've seen, what do we all need to look for differently? What do you think is going to jump out to all of us that is going to be different about the defense we'll see on Saturday against the Bulldogs?
I think they're going to be uber aggressive. And right off the bat especially, Mike Leach brings in this offensive line philosophy with this air raid that we haven't seen in this league probably since Hal Mumme.
Yeah.
Big splits between the offensive line. Well, that worked out okay in the Pac-12 and maybe in the Big 12. But the size and speed that LSU is going to bring to the table in the front seven, I can't wait to see Bo Pelini attack those big splits. And he's a 4-3 guy. We've heard about that, but I think the thing that's going to jump off the table is you'll see more people blitzing, more attacking brand of football.
Coach O certainly one to really put his arms around the graduate transfer route, and they've had a lot of success, obviously, here at LSU. Two names that come out that I keep hearing all the coaches talk about. Coach O talked about them on Wednesday. Jabril Cox at linebacker really helped solidify that group on defense. And then Liam Shanahan, the Harvard grad transfer, comes in. Offensive lineman, told me he'd never played center before, but apparently has earned the starting job there, and they're raving about him.
Let's start with Cox, who I've been really impressed with. Cox, he can run sideline to sideline. As much as I hate comparisons, everybody asks, so maybe a little bit of Debo Jones in the way that he runs laterally, and then he can attack. He can blitz. And very athletic linebacker that fits right in the Bo Pelini scheme. On the other side, Shanahan, who played tackle at Harvard, Chris, they've moved him down the center, and you and I have talked about it over the years. The center is the quarterback of that offensive line. He's ultimately the one that's got to make the protection calls. And so to have somebody that's played that much college football that can go with a new quarterback, that's really important because of the job Cushenberry and Burrow were able to do a year ago.
No doubt about it. Is Cushenberry just as solid as it comes? And Coach O mentioned Wednesday night, he said, hey, Liam, using that Harvard education to set the calls and understand what needs to be done and get the line right, and he's been impressed with him. So we'll have to wait and see on Saturday when the Tigers take on Mississippi State, again with a kickoff coming just after 2:30 with a CBS SEC on CBS televised, and we'll have it for you right here on the LSU Sports Radio Network. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at Mississippi State and the Pirate, Mike Leach, bringing his crew down from Starkville this weekend. And then once again, at the bottom of the hour, Coach Ed Ogeron going to address the media on the Coach O press conference presented by McDonald's here on the LSU Sports Radio Network.
People's Health is your Medicare health team, and People's Health is proud to sponsor your LSU Tiger teams. People's Health knows that when it comes to health care, what works is teamwork. Every People's Health Plan member is backed by a Medicare health team of doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and other health professionals. Whatever your health goals, our team's goal is to help you enjoy the best health possible. So compare your Medicare coverage to a People's Health Medicare Advantage plan. Call for your free information kit. People's Health is the official health plan of LSU Athletics.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. But the only thing that hasn't changed? Us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Test your Tigers knowledge by saying LSU Trivia into your Contour voice remote to enhance your game day experience. Watch together, play together, win together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Hey, Baton Rouge, we made it. It is football season, and nothing goes with football better than Hungry Howie's delicious flavored crust pizza. Get in a group together to watch the Saints or the Tigers. Get 3 medium 1-topping pizzas for just $15. When you carry out, you can get a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99. Download that Hungry Howie's app, go to hungryhowies.com, or stop by the store. Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus, right there at Lee. Hungry Howie's, home of that delicious flavored crust pizza. Hungry
Howie's!
Crawler Supply Company, your local Case construction dealer, would like to thank you for your support over the years. We have been a Case dealer since 1971 and continue to grow strong with the Case brand. As a certified diamond level Case dealer, we're able to bring you the best prices and product support in the industry. Try our new M-Series dozers and D-Series excavators. And don't forget to ask about the lease purchase program. 225-357-7515 or crawlersupply.com. Crawler Supply Company and Case, your partners in the construction industry.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Continuing with the Coach O press conference, presented by McDonald's. Coming up, we'll hear direct from the coach. But once again, here are your hosts, Gordy and Chris.
Tigers taking on Mississippi State. They'll host the Bulldogs at Tiger Stadium for the opening game of 2020, 2:30 kickoff. Coming up this Saturday. Let's talk about Mississippi State. Gordy, you and I previewed this team a couple of weeks back on LSU 60. A few more answers, but not a whole lot. I mean, even following some of the media up in Jackson and Starkville, still a lot of question marks as far as personnel. But we do know KJ Costello, without a doubt, will be the starting quarterback, grad transfer from Stanford. He is in the mold that Mike Leach wants in his air raid offense.
Well, he can throw the football. There's no question about it. The Stanford transfer had a 62.6% career completion percentage. But, Chris, it is a change in what he did at Stanford. He was more of a pro-style quarterback at Stanford. This, of course, is the air raid offense. So I'm interested to see how he adapts to going with Mike Leach.
And the other thing is Garrett Schrader, who spent some time at quarterback last year, has been moved to receiver. So he's not the backup. And really not a real clear backup listed, at least so far. So it looks like, as you say, they're going to go with Costello. It's going to be interesting to me when you talk about Mississippi State, Mike Leach, what's he want to do eventually. I mean, he inherited the team he got going in this season, and he's got one of the best running backs in the country, certainly in the SEC, and Kylan Hill, who decided to stay for his senior season. I think the question is, how are they going to use Kylan Hill in that offense, or do you think they adapt a little bit because of the talent they have in the running back position?
Kylan Hill really runs well between the tackles, and I had a chance to go back and look at some of the Egg Bowl from a year ago. He had a big game on that evening in cutting up some film for CST. I was really impressed with the way he runs. I think to get started, especially in this game, Chris, is there's obviously a transition going on. I think you're going to see Mike Leach spread the field to open up running lanes for Kylan Hill to get Costello comfortable a little bit, because this is a whole new set of receivers at Mississippi State. Guidry, their best receiver from a year ago, he has moved on. So I think this offensive aerial attack is going to be a work in progress. The thing that you can lean on is Kylan Hill.
All right, let's talk about the defense, because when you look back in recent memory, Mississippi State's great teams under Dan Mullen, it was always kind of led by a solid defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dan ran the spread offense, but he had some big, hulking and strong and fast defenses. They've got some returners this year, although there's still some question marks. Errol Thompson kind of leads that at linebacker. They're going to stick with a 3-4. That's what Mike's going to run. Defensively, I mean, are there just so many question marks there? We'll all find out Saturday.
Yeah, I want to see what Zach Arnett does. He's the defensive coordinator that Leach brought with him from the West Coast. He was at San Diego State, and he ran a 3-3-5 defense out there, right, as a nickel defense as his base, and that happens in the Mountain West Conference. My biggest question about that defense is, what are you going to do on first and second down? If you're going to start with a nickel, you've got to love the LSU's opportunity to run the football with the stable of backs that LSU has and with this offensive line. 3-3-5 base defense has not had a whole lot of success in this league. So how is Arnett going to adapt to playing football in the SEC? That's what I want to see. On the flip side, you mentioned they do return some people in their front seven. They played some young people. They're really green on the back end. And the concern in Starkville is going to be their ability to stop the pass.
All right, coming up in just a few moments, we'll be headed over, and Coach O will address the media for his first official press conference of Game Week 2020. We talked about having some non-conference games, kind of work out the kinks, tune up a little bit. Obviously, I think there's some expectation for Mike Leach in week number one, or season number one, but I don't know how high they are. But how critical is this game, not only for Mississippi State, but LSU, because the gauntlet is so tough. There's only 10 games. There's no margin for error.
No, not at all. Not when you're LSU, when the standard is you want to play for a national championship each and every year. And let's call it what it is. LSU got a very favorable draw when the schedule came out. They got Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and Missouri. None of those teams are expected to have a winning record in this conference-only season. So it's an opportunity to get some of these young, inexperienced people some reps before you go down to Florida at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Week 4.
Watched Coach O last night on 60 Minutes, and the reporter asked him, you use the word energy a lot, and anybody who's around him knows that you got to be energetic if you're going to be around Coach O. He's mentioned it. About 25,000 or 25% at Tiger Stadium. The way he runs practice, the way they run the scrimmages, he's told the guys they're going to have to create their own energy in this type of atmosphere.
Yeah, in watching former LSU Tiger Jamal Adams the last 2 weeks, he's done an excellent job of doing exactly that, Chris, and you're going to need some vocal leaders to do that for LSU on the football field.
All right, let's head now. Head man, Coach O.
We'll unmute your line, and you'll have a dialogue box that appears. Like I said, we won't go in any particular order. We'll just, as we go, I'll unmute you. So whenever, Coach Joe, whenever you're ready.
All right, great to see everybody. I want to recap this past Friday. We had preseason game number 3. It was a mock game. There was a lot of energy for the mock game. We wanted to make it game-like. We talked about substitutions, situations, halftime adjustments, a big day in the kicking game. Great job by Greg McMahon and organization. We had a maroon team that was in maroon jerseys. I want to compliment all the coaches on the staff, led by Russ Callahan and Christian Lacouture. I thought they did a tremendous job of getting these guys fired up. Jeff Martin was our energy coordinator. He did a great job of cheering those guys on. They got them all fired up. There was a cowbell on the sideline. Kind of made things like game-like. It was kind of exciting, man. I just want to compliment everybody. We walked off the field feeling very good about our situations, about what we did, and we were ready to play a football game. After that, we brought our team in the locker room. We had a pretty good time there. We had a festive time talking about camp, excited about the season. Then we surprised them. We were going to give the 18 jerseys away and the 7 jerseys away in scholarships. So these guys got it. 18 was a very prestigious number, 2 very deserving young men. We had a lot of men that were very deserving, but these men fit all the categories and graded the highest in all of the categories that we judge them in. Number 18, Chris Curry, and number 18, Damon Clark on defense. Those 2 young men are tremendous leaders, are great LSU Tigers. Both of them fought through adversity. Guys like Chris Curry, some guys would not have stuck around. Would have went somewhere else, but he stuck around and got his chance, and he's going to be a great player for us. The number 7 jersey went to Jacoby Stevens, very deserving, outstanding player, outstanding leader for us. He was excited to get it, and I know he's going to wear it with a lot of pride. We also gave 3 scholarships out. I wish I could have gave 12, 15. The walk-ons on our program are outstanding, and there were about 10 of them that were very, very deserving. But these are the guys we gave it to: Josh Williams, Lloyd Cole, and Jared Small. And, the team was cheering. Everybody was happy. We said a prayer. We sang the fight song, and it was a pretty good day on Friday. Our guys had Saturday. The coaches came in on Sunday. Now it's time to get ready to play Mississippi State. Obviously, on Monday, you can always feel it's game week. There's a little fall weather out there, and 10 SEC games coming up, one game at a time. Fortunate that we have Mississippi State at home, 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. CBS TV, I know all our fans will be watching, and those fans that will come, I know they will give a lot of noise and make it as game-like as we possibly can. We're going to have to provide our own energy. We have to play very well. Mike Leach has done a very good job wherever he's at with the air raid. He has some tremendous offensive weapons at Mississippi State. One, Colin Hill, is one of the backs that I had the most respect for, some of the most respect for in the SEC last year. A very dangerous back, and especially in the spread offense. We've been studying his offense at Washington State, and his running backs could hit the hole, could bounce it out, and make people miss. Then we're studying K.J. Costello, transferred from Stanford. We hear is going to be a starting quarterback. What is he starting quarterback or not, we don't know. Wait till game time, but I think that's going to be him. So we've been studying him. A very good passer, very knowledgeable, very experienced. On defense, Zach Cornett's coming from San Diego State. Very impressive numbers. Gave up 12.7 points per game, was second in the country. He was second in a couple of categories. I think he had a top 5 defense overall. And as we know, Mississippi State always has big, agile defensive linemen, 2 outstanding linebackers, safeties that are going to hit you, corners that are going to cover. I have a lot of respect for Mississippi State. I played them a bunch. Those young men are very tough. They love football. They're going to be very well coached. So it'll be a tremendous talent for our football team. But you know what? We're ready to play. We've been looking forward to this for a long time. I want to compliment our football team for not blinking, for always believing that we were going to play, always preparing like we were going to play. Our coaching staff, always preparing like we were going to play. Never took a day off, and we didn't think about nothing else but the safety of our football team and starting the season off right. So we're excited about this week, and I hope to see you guys on Saturday.
Hey, good morning, Coach, or good afternoon. 2 questions. The first one is just a quick one. Do you have anybody that is out for this week due to COVID? And then the second one, we've heard a lot about what Miles Brennan isn't. What is he to you as far as the strengths that he brings to the field? We've all said that he throws maybe a better ball than Joe. Do you feel that's accurate? And what are you most looking forward to out of that position?
Let me answer the first one without overstating myself. We're currently very low with guys that do have COVID. We're going to test 3 times throughout the week, so things could change, obviously. But right now we're in good shape. We have very few guys that are out because of COVID. I've always believed in Miles Brennan. I think he's an excellent young man. He waited his turn, a lot of respect. Has a strong arm, probably a stronger arm than Joe Burrow had. Can extend plays with his feet, not quite like Joe did. Is learning the offense. I think the spring kind of hurt for him not being with us, for us not practicing with his receivers. But I think he did a good job of catching up during COVID and catching up in the summertime. He was very accurate with the football in all 3 scrimmages. The only thing that we don't know, and I do believe that he's going to do very well, is how he's going to do in the fire. And the only way to know that is put him in the fire. I trust Miles. He's become a team leader. Short passing game is his strength. The deep ball is something that he is very good at, but I think that takes time for him and his receivers to get the timing down, and hopefully we can improve on that throughout the year.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Andrew Doak from CBS in New Orleans. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Kind of going off of that, one thing that stood out to me about Joe Burrow last year was that physically, especially when he would take off and run, he was able to take the physical punishment if he did take those shots. How confident are you that Miles Brennan is at a weight and just a physical standpoint that he can take those hits if it comes to it?
When he came to us about $170, I was worried about it. And now he's about 218, so I think that, he's prepared himself. He's got strong in the weight room. I think he's going to handle it well. He's going to be different than Joe. Joe went to run you over. I think Miles is going to be smart, going to run out of bounds when he needs to. dive when he needs to, whatever he needs to do, not to get hurt. And I'm going to tell him to do the same thing. But I think that when it comes down to taking a hit, he's going to be fine. He's going to bounce back. But you know what? He's going to have to do it time and time again. Hopefully he doesn't get a hit a lot. But in the SEC, you're playing very good defenses, and you can expect your quarterbacks to have to take hits.
Hey, Coach, good morning. Coach, you always do such a good job about talking about what the LSU on the helmet means and what it means to wear the uniform and represent LSU. Considering everything that's happened in the previous months and, so many people just unhappy right now about different things. When you take the field this Saturday, do you think it's going to mean a little bit more with so many people looking for something to smile about?
No question. I think that, LSU, as I'm born and raised, everybody lives for Saturday afternoon, Saturday night in Death Valley, and to be able to see them Tigers play again, gather around the TV, cook some gumbo, make some etouffee, have some parties, go back to doing the things we can, obviously following the COVID-19 protocol, but getting back to a sense of normalcy, I think is going to mean a lot for the state of Louisiana and all the great LSU fans that we have out there, and especially for our football team. Our football team has been working hard under extreme pressure. Here and they are going to play, they're not going to play, and you got to believe the coach. Hey, we're playing, we're going to compete to play, and they practice. They never skip the practice because of too many COVID guys out or nothing like that. We always kept on marching through, and now these guys are ready.
Hey, Coach, it was Ron Garland Gillen, Fox 8 New Orleans. First off, I thought you and Coco did very well on that 60 Minutes interview last night. I had no doubt Coco was going to try to steal the show there. I was reminded watching that again. I know we talked about what happened to USC and you got passed over. And there's other times where you feel like you haven't gotten your due. I know you talk about it as a team, but personally, what is that carrot in front of you right now? What keeps you going? Everybody's got something that they feel somebody's doubting them, and when you're on those jogs and when you're boxing in the gym, what keeps you going every single day that there's some person doubting LSU in your program?
I kind of love it. I call it internal fuel. I digest it. It makes me want to work harder. And, there's questions. Hey, they lost Joe Brady, they lost Joe Burrow, they lost Jamar Chase. You hear it all. And, we know what goes on here. We know it's the core of our program here. I've got some great coaches. We've got some great players. We believe in ourselves. But you know what? At LSU, the standards are very high. The expectations are very high. You got to prove yourself here every game, every day. So that's what I enjoy about being here, that everybody expects you to win, expects you to be great, and that's the type of school you want to be at.
I had two questions. One, have you any updates about Tyler Shelvin's possibility of returning to the team?
Yeah.
Second, I'm sorry, did you answer that? I wasn't.
No, go ahead.
And the second question was you've talked so much about attacking style on the defensive front. With Mike Leach's system before, it seems like he likes to spread defense out so much, especially when it comes to splits on the offensive line.
Yeah.
How do you attack that offense?
Yeah. First of all, Tyler Shelvin, I have not heard from. Everything is quieted down. Obviously, it's Monday of game week, so he hasn't returned. I'm not going to rule it out, but I have not a word. I have not heard a word from his family or from him, so I don't know where that's at. As far as the big splits, it makes it harder to get to the passer from the outside. It could open up the inside a little bit, but the quarterback gets rid of the ball so fast. They have a lot of screens. They have a run game. They keep you honest. But in order for us to beat Mississippi State, we're going to have to put some pressure on the quarterback and find ways to do that.
Hey, Coach. Jared Joseph, Fox Sport in Baton Rouge. Doubling off of that, piggybacking as far as preparing for Mike Leach, how much has the difficulty of it maybe heightened because of COVID and you haven't seen any tape of him, of course, with Mississippi State, and the quarterback situation isn't entirely solidified. So how is it preparing for that offense? And after you answer that question, the second would be for your own offense, what are you going to expect out of Keyshawn say his first one? Yeah,
well, I really like Keyshawn. I think he's a home run hitter. I think he's going to be an excellent receiver. The day that Jamar Chase left, he looked like we didn't skip a stride out there. He was outstanding. And but you know what? He's a freshman, and he's going to have to come along, but he's going to be putting some big shoes. He's probably going to start for us. So I expect him to do a very good job throughout the season and get better throughout the season. The COVID-19 was an advantage for us in some ways that we wasn't out in spring recruiting, and we were able to game plan all of our teams on our schedule. I think Mississippi State was maybe the 8th game on the schedule, and we had already had game plan them. So you got to look at Washington State for scheme on offense. You got to look at San Diego State scheme for defense, and then you got to look at Mississippi State for personnel. So you're really scouting 3 different teams, so it's 3 times the work. And obviously, Coach Leach has done a great job wherever he's at. He presents a challenge. But I think our guys have a pretty good handle of what we're going to do what they're going to do on offense, what they're going to do on defense and special teams. But just like any first game, there's going to be in-game adjustments. There's going to be new stuff. There'll be new plays. There'll be new defenses. There'll be new personnel. We just got to do a great job of adjusting on the sideline.
Hey, good afternoon. Early in camp, you talked about Liam Shanahan adjusting physicality right from Harvard to the SEC. I'm curious what you've seen in that progression throughout camp once pads came on, and especially notably this week because State's got a couple of really big defensive linemen who return.
He's done well, surprisingly well. That was my biggest concern. He was going against Tyler, goes against Apu, goes against Joe Evans. Very smart, as we know that, can make all the calls. But he's physical enough. And now he's going to get tested throughout the year, especially when they put one of those 350-pounders right on top of him. He's got the blocker, but I think he can. In fact, I feel good about it. I'm very glad that we have him. He's been a big plus for us.
Hey, Coach. Obviously a big part of you guys, defending that air raid offense is going to be the secondary and those cornerbacks in particular. Can you just talk a little about what you've seen from Elias in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah.
And then also, just who do you think is going to be maybe in that nickel spot on Saturday?
Yeah, I think you can expect to see Cordell Flott in the nickel spot. Jay Ward, when he's, if he's 100% healthy, I don't know how much he's going to be able to play this week. Maybe not. He's questionable right now. So it'll be Jay Ward or Cordell Flott. But Elias is showing tremendous improvement. Elias is about up to 6'2 and a half, 6'3 right now. Long, very smart corner, great ball skills, is learning the technique. Corey Raymond's starting to brag about him a little bit. When Corey brags about you, that means you're doing really, really well. And I think he has. And I think he, the communication, learning the defense, learning the checks, throwing in the fire in the SEC, I think is going to be something that he's able to do. And I think he'll play very well for us.
Hey, Coach, did Chris Curry have a great chance of starting him, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I think Chris is going to be the first back end, but I consider him, Tyron, and John all starters. I think that they're going to get equal reps. I think they're going to do things very well, and they're going to complement each other. And I think that, eventually as the season goes on, let's see who our lead back is. But throughout the camp, if I had to say there's a lead back, it would be Chris Curry. I think he had a tremendous camp, but so did the other two guys. They're very explosive. We talked about it this morning. If we'd have one strength on our offense, that we feel that it is the running back group, led by Kevin Falk, who's done a tremendous job. Kavontre Bradford is an outstanding running back, and so is Josh Williams. We gave him a young man from Houston. We gave him a scholarship, so we feel that we have 5 backs and go in the game and do very well.
Hey, Ed, the defensive tackle rotation and how that is shaping up with Neil Farrell back. How has he looked in his return, and then just how do you see that shaping up with all those guys?
Yeah, Neil's earning his way back. Hasn't been in pads yet because of the acclimatization period. Still has some conditioning to do. Obviously, we all know Neil can play. How fast he returns and how fast he works his way up the depth chart is basically up to him. And he's come back with a great attitude and wants to work. If Neil is in shape and he's working, Neil could perhaps be a starter for us. He's that good. but I can see him starting to get some game reps. I don't know if he's going to be ready. I think Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be some big days for him. But I see Glenn Logan, Apu Ika, and Joe Evans rotating the top three guys right there. And then maybe see Sony in there, maybe see Jacqueline Roy in there. So we got some options in there. We got Eric Taylor that can play. So there's a lot of guys that we can put in the game. But I think the top three are the guys that I talked about.
Yeah, Ed. I was wondering, two questions. One, is Miles Brennan, does he have the, I guess, the same input or some of the input that Joe had as far as game plans? And secondly, why did you take up boxing? Was it because you were already doing the road work?
Well, let me say this. Joe earned his way. I took Joe in the second year. I said, listen, if there are some plays that you want to run, you let me know. Let Coach Hensmaker know. If there's some stuff that you don't like, let me know. That's how much I trusted Joe. That was after a year of starting, and that was after a year of leading the team. You know, this is Miles' first year, so obviously he'll have some input, but it's basically a yes sir or no sir right now, and go out in there and do your job. You know, that's it. The reason I took up boxing is I'd go jogging on the river every day, and the guy that coaches me in boxing right now, LJ, was working some guys out. He said, hey, Coach, why don't you come try it? Why don't you come try it? Well, during COVID, I was by myself a lot. I was home a lot. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take up boxing. And I took up boxing on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night, 2 hours a night, and it filled up my time. And it helped me get in better shape. So that's the reason I took it. I like it. I wish I can keep it up. I can't during the season. Both my sons are doing it right now. It's a very good workout. You ought to try it, Ron. You'll like it.
Coach, how are you? Nicole with KOB in Alexandria. First, I mean, I haven't seen much of Jacobian in the practice footage, so what's the status of Jacoby Gillard?
Yeah, he had what we call a high ankle sprain during camp, which takes a little while longer to get back. I talked to him today. He has been a little gimpy at practice and been about 60, 70%. I do believe that he's working his way up this week. Is going to be closer to full speed, but it's going to take a little while. And I think in about 2 weeks he's going to be ready to go. Now he is not nowhere in the top three in the depth chart yet because of his injury, but he has shown that he has a promising future here. Both him and Jacqueline Roy and Eric Taylor, those guys are tremendous players, along with our other freshman defensive linemen. So it's going to take a little while for him.
Hey, Ed, Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Nice job last night on 60 Minutes.
Thank you.
What you guys have done begs the age-old question. Is it harder to get to the top or maintain it?
Well, obviously right now, being where we at, it seems like it'll be harder to maintain it. I mean, it's just, hey, you got to forget about it. You got to learn what we learned from it, forget about it, let it go. This is a new season. I don't want to put too much pressure on this football team. There's a lot of young players out there. We have a first-year quarterback. I remember when Joe was a first-year quarterback, not everything was perfect all the time, and I don't think everything is going to be perfect. This team last year was struggling against Southeast Louisiana, 10-0 at halftime, and everybody was wondering. So I'm looking forward to obviously winning one game at a time, but getting better and giving these guys a chance to grow and learn each other. Got a new defensive staff. We got a new passing game coordinator. So I think you find out a lot about yourself after the first game. It should be a tremendous improvement. I think you're going to see a team, Dennis, that's going to improve every week, but there's no room for error. I mean, to get where we want to go and to be the type of team we want to be, there's no do-overs. There's no slip-ups. 10 SEC games straight, one game at a time.
Hey, Ed, you've been pretty high on Ali Gay throughout preseason camp. They'll have him listed as a starter today at defensive end. What did he do to stand out, and what do y'all like about him?
I like his range. He's 6'6". He's smart, works hard every day. Very humble young man, wants to learn, physical at the point of attack, a very good pass rusher. He's tall, he's got a lot of batted balls. He had a batted ball for an interception, I think the third play of the scrimmage last Friday. Great young man. Him and Travis Moore are going to anchor down that left end. They'll probably have equal reps, backed up by Jarrell Cherry, but I think right now that Ali is starting. He has earned that starting position. He knows his assignments. He does well, plays hard. I think he's going to have a great season for us.
Butte stepping in when Chase opted out and not really missing a beat at times. If you toss in a guy like Eric Gilbert, when you look at this passing game, as good as y'all were a year ago, what kind of jumps out with this passing game?
You know, it all depends on what the quarterback can do. And last year, the decision that Joe made were incredible. And he was a coach on the football field. And then now this year, I think Miles can do the same thing. But those guys got to get their timing down. They got to get used to being under the fire together. Joe had been there a year. It was the second year. These guys' second year together. And it all came. We weren't near as good at the beginning of Joe's career as we were at the end, obviously. I think that we need to be patient, show that these guys are going to improve. But I do believe that Eric Gilbert needs to touch a lot of balls. Terrence Marshall needs to be our lead dog. Keyshawn Butte, those guys are tremendous players. Rayson McMahon, throwing the ball to the back out of the backfield, as many touches as we can get to our best players, put them in space, and let them make plays.
Coach Scooter Hobbs, how you doing?
Scooter, how y'all doing in Lake Charles?
Oh, we're getting there.
You got some electricity, I heard, huh?
Last year, what?
You got some electricity, I heard, huh? You got power?
Oh, yeah. A little bit. No AC yet, but I got a window unit.
Okay.
That was engineering marvel getting that thing in. But last year, for all the talent you had that you obviously have to replace, how do you go about replacing the chemistry and the swagger that team had? And are there things coaches can do to get that chemistry in place?
You know, I think that's a process. I think it starts with the coaches of us fostering leadership. I think the three young men that I gave the 18 and the 7 jerseys are going to be tremendous leaders for us, along with several other players. We've had several leadership committee meetings, more than I've ever had since I've been coach here, to be able to foster that leadership, and give them a chance to be leaders on the field. But you know what? The only way I think that you earn respect as a leader is to make plays on the field during game day. And I think as the season goes on, and as we're going to face adversity like every team does, somebody's going to have to step up and say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how we do it, and be the lead dog and go get it done. And obviously we had a lot of guys last year that could do it, and Clyde Evans-Helaire was one of those guys. The game he had against Alabama was something I'll never, ever forget. And that was a tremendous job of leadership by example, and so was Joe, and so was Justin Jefferson. So we have some guys that I think they can do it, but come game time, they're going to have to do it.
Hey, Coach, this is Josh Sibley with Louisiana Gridiron Football. Going back to your nickel play, you've said Jabril Cox is athletic enough to play nickel. Can you possibly see a scenario that you might end up having to play Jabril Cox at nickel?
Yeah, the injuries would have to play a factor in that. Hopefully they don't. But we're very thin at corner, and we're glad we got Darren from Nicholls State. Now, he just started, and we think that he can play for us. We know he can play for us. And but it's going to take a little while for him to get used to it. Jay Ward is not 100% yet, so it all depends how fast he can come back. But I think we'd have to be down to maybe our third nickel for him to go in there. And we like him at linebacker. We don't want him to have to play nickel, but if he has to, he could.
Hey, Coach, Andrew Doak with CBS in New Orleans one more time. A two-parter, if I could. When it comes to Eric Gilbert, is there a college or pro prototype that he kind of reminds you of? And then the second part would be, yesterday in the NFL, we saw kind of a rash of injuries. And some people kind of, related to no preseason. And I just wonder, just starting in the SEC, not having a game against an FCS opponent or just one of those lower level opponents. What's the biggest challenge just from a physical standpoint to have your team ready to play against the most elite athletes in college football?
That's why we had those preseason games. That's why we had some tough days at camp. We had to have some physical days. Now, not every day was 11 on 11, all-out tackling, but we have a drill called bump combo drill where there's about 5 guys in there. We're getting after it pretty good and simulates a tough running game. We had team pass, simulating a tough protection, a tough rush. So we took spurts in which we could simulate game-type stuff, going best against best, because I feel that, we have a very good team. So the team that they see in practice is going to be a pretty good football team every day. So we simulated that. You can't be 100%. The thing I worry about the first game is tackling, because we don't tackle every day. We don't go to the ground every day because you can't, because you're going to get hurt. I think some of those things are a concern, but I think that the process in which we practice is going to be very important. Eric Gilbert, I haven't had a tight end like him in my coaching career. Some people compare him to Calvin Johnson. I'm not comparing him to Calvin Johnson. I don't want to put too much on him, but he's that type of football player and has that type of body and can do those type of things. Now, obviously, will he pan out to be like that or not? Nobody knows. But he is similar in stature and similar in skill set to Calvin Johnson.
Guys, we got time for 2 more questions. We'll go Brooks, and then we'll wrap up with Copper.
You talked about Ollie Gay and Trevis Moore holding down that strong side on the defensive end. Could you maybe explain a little bit the roles for those defensive ends on both ends, the weak side in there, and why the people there are good for those spots?
Yeah. The left end is usually the bigger end, because most teams are right-handed and want to run the ball to their right, with a tight end there. So we put the left end there. The right end is a smaller, quicker end. Sometimes it should be your best pass rusher because he's coming from the quarterback's blind side. That's the reason we do that. Andre Anthony is at right. Ali Gay is at left. Ali's a little bit bigger. B.J. Ojulari is at right end. Travis Moore is at left end. B.J. is a very, very talented young man. You're going to see a lot of snaps of. He's probably our best pass rusher right now. So you're going to see a rotation, at least 4 guys at defensive end, left and right.
Sorry, Coach, I'm fielding texts about questions that people are going to get to ask. So I got a couple then, I guess. Is there anything that you're unsure about, whether it be roster or teams or anything of that area that you're trying to button up this week? And then finally, anything different as far as the way you guys are going to run things on the sidelines or in the press box because of COVID this year?
Yeah. Well, first of all, this week, I want to start from scratch. We've been game planning last week. We game planned against Mississippi State, but I want it to be all new, all fresh this week, man. Going through the process. This is our first game week. Tell the truth Monday, competition Tuesday, turnover Wednesday, no repeat Thursday. We haven't had a focus Friday yet because of the time allotments and the practice allotment. So it'll be our first focus Friday. We haven't gone to the hotel yet. We haven't done the Tiger Walk yet. All that stuff. So I want to make sure all that stuff goes smooth. Preparation is smooth. And, the sidelines, obviously we're going to wear a mask. There'll be a lot less people on the sideline. We're going to try to practice social distance as much as we can. Obviously, that's going to be a challenge, no question. But I think as far as the play calling, as far as the guys in the box, the guys on the sideline, everything's going to remain the same. We want to make sure that everything remains the same as well for our players so they can be comfortable in their environment.
Okay, thanks everybody. That's it for today.
Coach O in a very upbeat mood as he in
Hi, I'm Clay Bear, Louisiana Land Bank loan officer. Louisiana Land Bank is a co-op. We're owned by our member borrowers. When you make a loan with Louisiana Land Bank, we'll pay back a portion of our profits to our borrowers in the form of a patronage refund. At commercial banks, they may take you to lunch, but what we're going to do is we're going to write you a check. That check is something that you can take with you. You can spend it on personal needs. You can put it back on your loan. However you want to spend it, it's yours. If you're looking for a land loan, equipment loan, recreational loan, operating line, give me a call. Clay Bear, Louisiana Land Bank.
Louisiana has many outstanding licensed contractors that do great work. Regretfully, there are some unlicensed and unqualified scammers out there that can cost you a fortune and they never get the job done. Read your contract carefully, verify licensure, and check references. Cheap prices and promises that sound too good to be true are obvious warning signs of fraud. The Louisiana State Licensing Board of Contractors urges consumers to verify licensure before beginning a construction project. Visit lacontractor.org or download the free mobile app LA Contractor from the Android or Apple Store.
Hey guys, this is Todd from Rebel Heating and Air. Your heating and air conditioning system requires essential cleaning and care to ensure efficient and safe operation. Call Rebel today and schedule an appointment. That's Rebel Heating and Air, 929-8944. And remember, the bitter taste of a poor installation will remain much longer than the sweet taste of that lowest price. Call us today, 929-8944. That's Rebel Heating and Air, 929-8944. Or go to rebelheatingandair.com.
These days, almost everybody's cooking at home more. Getting back to basics in the kitchen. Basic recipes, basic ingredients. Rice is a popular one. It's easy to cook, and you can use rice to turn any meat, fish, veggie, or beans into a meal. In fact, across the country, rice sales are up almost 20%, which means a lot more folks are discovering what rice lovers already know. When you start with rice, it's easy to make a nutritious meal everyone loves. Brought to you by the proud farmers of certified Louisiana rice.
Market declines, unemployment, oil prices. Today's headlines can be scary. Your Edward Jones financial advisor can help. They'll work with you to help you understand the impact of short-term events and how to be positioned for the long term. Edward Jones provides tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. Call or visit your local Edward Jones office. In Plaquemine, Kyle Robichaux. In Central, Chris Choate. In Denham Springs, Scott Landry. And in Baton Rouge, Tex Morris. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
How can Staples help you get back to business?
By printing you new signs for the times.
Staples can help prepare your business for the new normal with everything from in-store signage to health essentials like masks and hand sanitizer, and all at amazing prices.
And this week at Staples, get $15 off posters or yard signs when you spend $75 or more.
Save big this week at Staples.
Ends 10/31. Exclusions apply. Limit one offer per customer. See store associate or visit staples.com/signage for details.
104.5 WNXX Jackson, 104.9 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannegriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannegriff.
Welcome back to Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport, plus our friends at CST and on YouTube. Hanging with Hester and Hanny page, the 104.5 ESPN page. Cade Wazan, our audio producer, Playboy Marty, our video producer, and our first Coach O press conference of the year. Before we get started with that, I want to announce that starting next week, Hanging with Hester and Hanny on Mondays during football season is going to take our show on the road, and we're going to go 2 extra hours. We're going to go starting at 10 a.m., and we'll go till noon from Sammy's on Highland. Sammy's under new ownership with a brand-new menu, but we're looking forward to getting over there this coming Monday, and we'll do the show from there from 10 until noon. And then we'll have the press conference from noon until 1, and then we'll come back here and do the last 2 hours of the show from 1 until 3.
It's going to be some fun. We're going to go over there, do the show, carpool maybe back here, you know, in between.
I'll teach you how to do remotes on the road, in the morning time.
I think you know something about that.
Yeah, I've had a little experience under my belt. So you get us for 4 hours with Coach O sandwich in in the middle of it. So
Well
we're going to be extra time on Mondays, and with Jimmy doing the show on Fridays from 10 until noon, you're going to have an awful lot of local flair because it's football season. It's SEC football season. So we're excited to announce that, excited to go back over to Sammy's. Our good friend Kevin Kimball running the show there now has done a great job with the reopening of the new Sammy's. So we're looking forward to being there for the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
So be with us early next Monday because we're going to start at 10. Now, let's get into some of the news out of that press conference. First of all, the 3 walk-ons. These are names that are probably not familiar to very many fans, but Coach O awarding 3 walk-ons scholarship, and you know a little bit about all 3 of these guys. First, let's start with the senior, Lloyd Cole. He was originally at Grambling and transferred in. And he was actually on every special teams unit a year ago.
Yeah, he played a lot last year on teams, almost every kick, almost every return. Like he was out there. So no surprise that he gets a scholarship from Parkway High School there in Bossier City, same school as Terrace Marshall. He was, a really good player in high school, goes to Grambling, decided he wanted to go a little bit bigger. And he's a guy that, you could see some time on defense as well. So, again, no surprise that he got a scholarship because of what he did to help the team last year.
And then the second one is a local product here from Baton Rouge, from Catholic High, a junior linebacker, Jared Small. You think there's some packages he could find a little bit of playing time?
Again, another special teams guy from a year ago. You saw him on the field a ton there in the kicking game. But talking with Bo Pelini, when we had Bo Pelini on, a couple of weeks after he got here, he had a couple of spring practices under his belt. This was a guy that he brought up. We didn't ask him about Jared Small. No, he brought him up so he could, in some sub packages, be out there with the first team.
And Josh Williams is a running back from Houston. Now he's a freshman, so they are committing some time to him. If they're going to give a redshirt freshman running back a scholarship, they must really like what they see.
Yeah, so the other two, those make a lot of sense because you're talking about core teams guys who have a potential, if there were some injuries, to get in there on defense. This was the surprise because redshirt freshman. So this is like recruiting someone out of high school. When you give a freshman a scholarship, this is a guy that you're going to have that scholarship tied to for 4 seasons. So this was a big one. Coming out of high school, he's from the Houston area. He had offers from Dayton, Drake, and Lafayette. So you're talking on your FCS level, but they thought enough of him as a freshman to give him a scholarship. You just heard Coach O say that you could potentially see him on the field. They could go 5 deep at running back. Now he's not going to be the first guy in there, but that's a big deal that you're giving a freshman a scholarship and not just a team's guy who's been there working hard for 3 seasons and you want to reward him for what he's done out there in the kicking game. So if you give a guy this young a scholarship, there's plans for him.
No surprises on the depth chart that was released on the offensive side. Of course, Brennan is your quarterback. Curry is listed as your top running back. You heard Coach O talk about giving him 18. 3 wide receivers are listed as starters: Marshall, McMath, and Booty. That's not a surprise there. Gilbert is your starting tight end, and your starting offensive line is exactly what we expected from left to right: Rosenthal, Ingram, Shanahan, Hines, and Deculus. Defense did provide a couple of, I would say, mild surprises, starting with the defensive line and Allie Gay. Trevez Moore was listed as a starter at the beginning of camp. They're going to split some time, but Gay, a junior college player with an awful lot of range, he's 6'6", is listed as a starter at one defensive end. Andre Anthony is expected on the other side. We do expect to see a good bit of B.J. Ojolari. On the inside, Apu Aika, Glenn Logan there. They've had a few things to work through. Neil Farrell is working his way back. You heard Coach O say that Jacobian Guillory has a high ankle sprain, so it's not the deepest position over there. And he's talked up Joe Evans an awful lot in the last couple of weeks. So it's a position that is evolving at the backup level, I would say.
Yeah, Joseph Evans was a guy that we talked about it on Friday. Coach O mentioned a lot last year. Got some playing time, but, because you have veteran players there, obviously didn't make an impact. And then you moved him because you thought you're going to be light at the center position. You thought enough of Joseph Evans that you could get that done, and then Shanahan takes over. So now you're able to move him back to a position of need. And you've got depth there. I truly think you do, but it's young depth, so you don't exactly know what you're going to get. When the bright lights come on, even though there's only going to be 25,000 fans, still – is the moment going to be too big for some of these players? That's what your worry is there. But, again, I think Glenn Logan is a guy that you can count on. He is a sure thing, probably the most underappreciated guy on this defense because Remember, going back to 2018, when he got injured, the defense looked different. He had the tightrope procedure. He got back on the field. He's never going to get all the accolades that all the other guys get, but he's a very important part. His health is going to be key.
We think, at least I do, when I think of Ika, I think of this giant man in the middle, almost as big as what Shelvin was. When I think of Logan, I think of a guy that used to play on the outside, so I think of him as a smaller defensive tackle than Ika. It's not really the case. Ika is listed at 6'4", 340. Logan is listed at 6'3", 339. So essentially they are exactly the same size as far as the depth chart is concerned. At linebacker, Jabril Cox and Damone Clark, who was also awarded 18 on Friday. When they have 3 linebackers on the field, it'll be Michael Baskerville at the other. Your starting cornerbacks are Derek Stingley and Eli Ricks with, we can print our shirts, Cordell Flott in the slot as your nickel. Jacoby Stevens, who was given number 7 on Friday, and Todd Harris and Maurice Hampton are both listed as co-starters at the other safety. We expect to see an awful lot of both. The specialists, Cade York is kicking, Avery Atkins is kicking off, Von Rosenberg is punting for the 19th consecutive year, and for the first time since when's the last time?
2011.
Yeah, since the first time since 2011, Shea Dixon had that tweet this morning. Somebody other than a Ferguson will be snapping.
Same high school, though.
Yes, it is Snapper High School over there. I forgot the name of it in
Buford.
Georgia. What, Buford?
Yeah.
Thanks. They obviously have a great deep snapping program because
I went to that Rubio deep snapping school. Gordy and I had Mr. Rubio on a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's truly amazing. They sent another player to Arkansas. So if you want your son to get a scholarship, just go ahead and send him to the deep snapping academy there.
Quentin Skinner will deep snap. Von Rosenberg is your holder. Your punt returner is Derek Stingley. And kickoff returns will be in the hands. Coach O had alluded to this last week on his show, John Emery and Trey Palmer.
Love that.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of speed back there.
I wouldn't hate seeing Trey Palmer as the punt returner once they get more comfortable with him back there. I know Stingley's someone they're comfortable with, but you've heard me say this before. I don't love the best defensive player in the country catching punts, even if he is a dynamic player, just because of the safety of that position. And Trey Palmer already has a punt return for a touchdown in his career, so I'm interested to see how that plays out. I want to ask you this. 3 linebackers listed, obviously. You go into a 4-3. On Saturday, how many snaps do you think all 3 of those linebackers will be on the field at the same time?
My first inclination is to say none, but there may be a short yardage or goal line situation. But other than that, none.
A handful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only a 4th and 1, a 3rd and goal from inside the 1 yard line, something like that.
Against the air raid, against Mike Leach, you're going to see Todd Harris and Maurice Hampton on the field at the same time with Jacoby Stevens. Remember, Jacoby Stevens, because he is 6'2", every bit of 230 pounds, he is going to basically be a linebacker in this game, covering the middle of the football field. So we won't really get a look at what the new 4-3 defense looks like in this game. It's going to be pretty much nickel or dime the entire game.
I don't really. I think when the season is over, I think we'll probably look at it, 3 linebackers in a non-goal line or short yardage situation. You're probably talking about, I don't know, 10% of the snaps or 15% of the snaps on the high end.
There's a couple teams that you still play that you might have them out there. Ole Miss comes to mind. If John Rice Plumlee, when he's in the game, if he's the guy, right, and they don't switch quarterbacks, and you could see because of the quarterback counter, the quarterback power, maybe you run more of a 4-3.
Injury situation, Jay Ward, one of the corners where Coach O says that they are a little bit light, although they have added Darren Evans. He is questionable. We told you about Guillory with the high ankle sprain, and other than that, they're in pretty good shape. He says they are low with COVID numbers, but did not provide any specifics there. So I think that's most of it. Coach O, upbeat, ready to go. Gosh, we all are. So let's kick the football and let's go, man.
I really honestly can't believe it's here, because as we were leaving the show on Friday and Moscona was coming in, it was weird just because it didn't feel like a football Friday like we know it to feel. Right. Last year, just the buzz, and it was September, and we were doing shows and locations on Fridays, and you saw the RVs and you saw people in town, and everything just felt right. On Friday, it didn't feel right. Now it's starting to feel right. Now we've had Coach O. Now we had a weekend full of football where we were arguing at the dinner table. That's what it's supposed to be. It's almost here. Hanny, we made it. And Flot in the slot.
Game week, baby. All right, we'll take a break. Come back with more Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you every single day by our title sponsor, Richards Honda. Of course, you can always find them online at richardshonda.com, where you could already do it all. I always tell you, you can view the offers in the bottom left corner of the site. You can chat with sales in the bottom of the site as well. So any question you might have, they can answer it right there on the spot. You can find the warm, fuzzy promise. You can order parts and accessories. You can schedule service on your car. But they've also added the buy from home button. So if you want to go through the car buying process straight from richardshonda.com, well, you can do it now on the homepage. But you can also go into the dealership. Remember, they are keeping it safe for you. They're cleaning it twice a day and overnight as well. So go see them at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. Over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from. And no matter what you're looking for, car, hybrid, midsize or full-size SUV, van or truck, they've got something for every lifestyle over at Richards Honda. Again, richardshonda.com. And as always, home with a warm and fuzzy feeling.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary...
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Game day, Monday Night Football. Saints, Raiders. We're previewing the matchup and recapping your football weekend. So join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you in part by Supreme Rice out of Crowley, Louisiana since the 1930s. Support our Louisiana farmers, man. They had a rough go during Hurricane Laura. All of Supreme's rice is grown, milled, and processed right here in the state of Louisiana, and it's delicious. Whatever your dishes are, whether it's just a rice and gravy or red beans and rice or gumbo or jambalaya. What did Coach O say? Get a good gumbo this week and make it with Supreme Rice. You can get the long grain, the brown rice, or our favorite, the jasmine rice. It's easy to get Supreme Rice at all of your local Walmarts, all of your Costco's, any AG food dealer. For Supreme Rice, we always love it, and it will stretch that food dollar for you. So pick up some Supreme Rice wherever you shop, and for more information, great local recipes, go to supremerice.com. I know you got this during the break at the top of the hour. ESPN ran a breaking news thing. I've already gotten a couple of texts on it myself. Breaking news: Tigers picked Miles Brennan to succeed Joe Burrow at quarterback. This was breaking news. Well, I mean, didn't you wake up this morning going, "Wow, who's going to be the quarterback?" This is breaking news where? I'm not really sure. Is there anybody in the United States of America, including the parents of both of the backup quarterbacks, that thought that Miles Brennan was not going to take the first snap?
That was a little surprising to me when it came across. Like, I'm pretty sure we knew that the second that they took a knee in the national championship game that Miles Brennan was going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, so we got that. Now, we did have a question about how they are listed on the depth chart as the backup quarterback. They are listed as co-backups. This is T.J. Finley and Max Johnson. They do this a lot when they feel like the competition behind is very, very close. They will put an or.
Alabama had 27, I think, ors on their depth chart.
Okay, and LSU's, I'm just looking down here, about a dozen.
Yeah.
The ors mean something when, for instance, they've got Todd Harris or Maurice Hampton. Well, we know both of those guys are going to play on Saturday. When you see something at running back, or wide receiver, the multiple guys are going to play. I can't tell you for sure what would happen, God forbid, if something happened to Miles Brennan, who's going in for sure. Pressed for an answer, I would tell you Max Johnson, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that they've put it this way. He hasn't gone all in on one or the other, and you want both of those guys to have a chance. They've split a lot of the reps in camp. And the other thing is, and I'll say this once, and I'm just not going to dance around it, but generally when you have guys in the same class, once there's some separation, then the transfer talk starts. That's just how especially at that position. So that's just how that goes. So for right now, they are listed as an or situation, which is fine.
My best guess is if something did happen, Max Johnson, because of his running ability, would probably get the first crack at it. But I can tell you they've been pleasantly surprised with the growth of T.J. Finley. Every time I go over there, and not just the coaches, but people around the program say they thought it was going to take a little bit for him to catch up, but he's actually really ahead of where they thought he would be.
Here's one of the other interesting things that I got out of the presser, which was the scouting that they have done on Mississippi State. First game, new coach, it's always a little bit of a challenge. We certainly know what Mike Leach's offense looks like, but we don't know what it looks like with this personnel. So they're scouting Washington State from an offensive schematics standpoint. They're scouting San Diego State from a defensive standpoint because of the staff there. They are scouting Mississippi State because of personnel, and I would imagine that they looked at quite a bit of Stanford film on KJ Costello. So this is a challenging game to scout.
It is, because when you look at Mississippi State, Garrett Schrader was the quarterback that you saw the most. Well, he's moved to receiver. Okay, Tommy Stevens is now a tight end for the Saints, who was the other quarterback. And so you bring in Costello, who was running a pro-style offense. Now he's running the air raid. And so how do you scout that? That's going to be a little bit of a guessing game. And then Kylan Hill is a very dynamic player, one of the best running backs in the country, not just the SEC, but he carried it 242 times a year ago. I can almost guarantee you he's not going to carry it 242 times in a Mike Leach offense. And so, okay, what runs are they going to use? Well, then you go back and you watch the Washington State tape. But even that's going to be difficult, because if you remember, they had a scat back. He was more of a receiver back there than a running back. They ran some outside zones, but, Kylan Hill's going to give you something more dynamic. You can do more. You can be more creative. But with the way their offensive line plays in the splits, that kind of cuts down on what he does really best, which is run power. It's going to be difficult for Mississippi State to run the same plays that they ran with Kylan Hill a year ago. So I don't know what you scout. I'll be honest with you. I don't know
everything.
I don't know how many resources you say, all right, Washington State. All right, you're going to watch Costello to see what throws he can and cannot make. All right, we know Kylan Hill. We've got a book on him. We saw him a year ago. And then defensively, you're trying to watch San Diego State tape when the Aztecs are taking on San Jose State. So it's going to be just a total group effort trying to watch a little bit of everything.
They've got an army of analysts over there, and Lord knows they've had enough time. So, I mean, I get the challenges that go with this, but I think that they're ready. I think that they're just chomping at the
they'll
bit
be ready, but
to
it's,
go.
how many different resources are you trying to go in different places is kind of the question.
And all of the things that will surprise you on Saturday. I mean, you're going to get in there, and after you look at the first, get through the script, like you like to say.
Yeah.
And how much different does the script look from what – I mean, it's not going to be exactly what you had scouted. Leach is creative enough. He's going to throw something at you probably that you haven't seen. You just hope it doesn't exploit you too bad, and you follow your rules, and you try to get through that, and then you make your adjustments as you go.
Just to kind of give you an idea, Washington State as a team. So as a team, they ran the ball 210 times a year ago. Mississippi State's Kylan Hill, again, 242 rushes on his own. So there's without question it's going to look different. I'm very curious. I thought Costello's got pro ability. I don't think there's any question about that, but why go get him? Why go get him who ran David Shaw and Stanford's pro set, I formation, 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, 1 back for the air raid? Okay, so but there's something that he saw playing against them, game planning for Stanford that he liked. A little bit surprised, though, that's who he went and got, because I thought Garrett Schrader did enough to be able to stay a quarterback from a year ago.
Well, let's not act like he's got his pick of anybody he wants either. Maybe this is who he could get. I mean, if you're looking at an experienced transfer quarterback, they're not exactly flocking to Starkville usually. On the other hand, Leach is going to let you throw the football, so it's a different thing. Maybe this is the best guy he could go get just from a talent standpoint, even if schematically it's not the
this year there was actually a lot of guys in the transfer portal really going all over the place. When you
but
look
did they want to go to state though?
Starkville is an acquired taste. There's no question about that.
It's an SEC school,
but
and
that's what I'm saying. It's an SEC school with some talent around it. So there's guys that have gone other places that you can make an argument for Mississippi State.
One more thing for the camp from hell that I'll ask you about, which is the preseason game, which he talked about, which is the scrimmage that they ran on Friday. This is a few days later than what they would normally do. 8 days to the opener, you're usually not running a full scrimmage. So you read anything into that, or is it just, hey, man, 2020?
It's kind of going to be our answer.
It's a stock answer on a lot of things, and it's perfectly acceptable.
You said this last week, and there's a lot of truth to it. How many coaches watched what happened in Navy against BYU and panicked a little bit and said, have we been doing enough? Have we hit each other enough? Have we tackled each other enough? I don't think there's any question about that, because Navy's not a team that's 50 points worse than BYU, but they took an approach to not tackle, to go over basic stuff and not have the scrimmages that they typically would have, and that's a physical offense, and we saw what happened.
If you take that approach and you didn't tackle all through camp and you went at it a little bit from a cautious standpoint, it takes you exactly 6 quarters to make it up, because they didn't tackle Tulane in the first half either. And in the second half, they did. They looked a lot more like Navy in the second half, unfortunately for everybody that took Tulane, minus the touchdown, which we did on our picks, or at least I did on my picks on Friday. We'll take a break here. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
We've been telling you about EnviroPath. It's this proactive campaign to get businesses and schools open safely and confidently. Hey, look, we got schools open now. The Hester boys are all in school.
That's right.
All the time. Hey, isn't that great? This technology that was developed by NASA allows you in your home or your business to create a powerful super oxygenated molecule that kills viruses in the air and on surfaces. Not only is it available now, but it's affordable too.
masks are only partially effective, right? The germs still escape into the air. If you call the company to come give a chemical spray down. Well, one thing is it's just going to recontaminate as soon as you walk out the door. All that's going to happen is the germs are spread around. You're not getting rid of the problem. It's only a quick fix, and the fix isn't even that long because as soon as they walk out the door, recontamination takes place. Don't allow that to become you. Call 225-610-0702 and also check them out at enviropath.world.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Join us for a Monday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Superior Grill on Highland Road for our Monday Night Football watch party. Come watch the game or tune in from 6 to 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. How many special teams units you play on when you were with the Chargers?
All four.
All four.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a
actually 5 field goal and extra point as well.
Okay. So give me. So you were on kickoff return. You were obviously you weren't one of the up. I don't think you were one of the up men.
I was the other returner, Hanny.
Okay. So I'm going somewhere with this, right? So you get in these special teams meetings. You guys, have more meetings than the United States cabinet, and I'm sure at some point they go over onside kick return.
Yes,
and I'm sure the special teams coach goes over the rules: 10 yards, You can field it before it gets to 10 yards. The other team can't touch it before 10 yards. What are we going to do when they come up with this kick? Now, I'll give the Cowboys credit for one thing, and we're talking about the Cowboys' 1-point win over the Falcons yesterday. There's so much good stuff here if you don't like the Falcons, and I don't like the Falcons. So they come up with what they call the watermelon kick. Mm-hmm. The ball lays on its side. There's no tee, and this joker's just spinning and spinning and spinning. And at some point in an Atlanta Falcons special teams meeting, at some point they had to say, if the ball's coming towards you and it hasn't gone 10 yards, you can recover it. Yet 3 players stood around and watched the ball go 10 yards before they decided to try to jump on it.
Hanny, that was embarrassing. Somebody's probably losing their job because of that. There's a lot of times that you catch the ball at 8 yards, 9 yards. When you're on the front line and the kicker doesn't do his job and he doesn't have the double hop, well, if you're on the front line, you're taught to block the guys coming, but if the ball's coming right at you, Hanny,
right,
you pick it up and you fall to the ground. The fact that they sat there and looked at it like, we can't touch this ball either until it goes 10 yards. Very easily, there was 3 Atlanta Falcon players that could have jumped on that ball when there was not a Cowboy in sight. And they're sitting there and they're looking at the ball shuffling like they're trying to down a punt on the 1 yard line. I mean, it was a weird game. I'll be honest with you. It was a weird game because not because of what happened. I'm talking about for rooting interest because I'm not a fan of either one of those teams. In fact, if I had to put a list of my bottom teams that aren't the Raiders, they'd probably be pretty close. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is just laughable. I don't really care who wins, but the fact that this is taking place, and Dak Prescott had a hell of a game, by the way, to lead his team back, but that's, and I should say Hans' team is probably the thing that you go over the least amount because you have stars out there. On the Hans team, you're going to have your best receiver. You're going to have your top tight end. You're going to have your number 1 running back. You're going to have guys that do not play special teams. So you don't go over it as much as other special teams units. But I'll be damned if they don't say, if the ball's coming at you, just jump on it. Don't sit there and watch it like you're at a campfire.
I'm completely with you, except I watched what happened, and all I can tell you is that they had 3 guys that were standing right. One of them was Hayden Hurst, who they got in an off-season trade, and who they think an awful lot of is a very good player. And they all sat there and just watched it spin. The onside kick has become almost impossible to execute as they've changed the rules. Just in the last 15 years, they've changed the rules. First of all, you had to even up the players on both sides. What's that?
Look at that right there. If you're watching.
Yeah, all right. The 87 is Hurst. I'm not. Is that 17?
It's 81. It's just a really bad uniform and a bad font from the Falcons.
Oh yeah, the Falcons have the worst uniforms in sports now. So the first thing they did was you have to split the number of people, so you can't overload one side. Then they said that you had to have 2 bounces on the thing, which is almost impossible to execute, properly. And then this past year, the latest rule is that you have to be within 1 yard of the kicker, so you can't even get the 5-yard running start that you used to. So being able to execute these onside kicks is next to impossible. So they came up with this spinning top watermelon kick. I've seen guys put a ball down with no tee, or I've seen them put it in front of the tee. Yeah. I haven't seen this one, but I would have never expected that it would work like this. I would have expected maybe that if somebody went down to try to field it, it might score it away from them. Maybe.
So typically when you put the ball on the ground like this, there's a couple things you can do. Obviously, you can do what they did. So our onside kick guy in San Diego was Mike Cyphers, who actually played his high school football at Hester.
He was the punter, right?
Yeah, it wasn't Nate Kading, our kicker, because he would put it on the ground like this at times. He could do this. He could actually make it bounce. I still don't know how in the world he made it happen sometimes. Or he'd put it on the ground sideways, and he'd try to nail somebody on the front line and have it bounce off them and us recover the kick. So there's a couple different things you can do. But in this scenario, if you're the Falcons, like that's Julio Jones in the picture if you're watching on CST with that's Julio, number 11 there. You've got to know. Like, you have got to know the rules. You have to know that you can go pick that ball up. I was just completely shocked that they just allowed this thing. And they were waiting with the Cowboys players for it to go 10 yards.
The Cowboys also did a nice job. You see, again, if you're watching with us on this graphic, where 29 is basically trying to basketball block out the tight end, which he's allowed to do, but Hurst is allowed to go through him to try to get the ball. Here's the fun statistic if you are rooting against the Falcons, and if you're a Saints fan, you're probably rooting against the Falcons
and Cowboys.
First time, yeah, well,
just ended
somebody had to win. The first team ever to score 39 points in a game and not turn the ball over and lose. In 400, there's over 440 games in the history of the NFL.
No, yep.
Yeah, in the history of the NFL. If you can do something that's never been done before since the 1930s, since they started keeping track of this kind of thing, you've really accomplished something. Congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons for accomplishing that yesterday.
Yeah, you hate to hear it. Actually, you love to hear it. But and also clock management. Like when you get the big lead like that, I know you have a back that has an injury history, but man, you got to take some time off the clock. You're not going out there to try to score points anymore. It was just bad ball all the way around from the Falcons, and what was just a joke of a loss.
They led the game.
Cry here,
they led the game 20-0 after the first quarter. They led the game 29-10 at the half, and they led 39-24 with 7:57 to go in the game. To me, that's the worst one. I've seen teams blow 20-point first half leads before. It's not terribly common, but it happens. But to blow a 15-point lead in under 8 minutes, Dan Quinn got fired yesterday. He's not going to get fired today, I don't think. But essentially, they've been on the downturn since the last time they blew a lead like this. Back-to-back 7-9 seasons. Look, I don't take any joy in guys losing their job, but you don't recover from this. I don't think. They end up finishing probably 4-12 or something like that, and they'll make a coaching change. Sucks for them. I don't know why.
I can tell you're really upset by it.
The only team it could have happened to have been any better would have been Alabama. But there were so many good games in the NFL yesterday that we want to get to. Plus a Saints preview as they will play the Raiders tonight on Monday Night Football. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
The only thing dumber that you could do than sitting around watching a ball spin for 10 yards is to dig without calling 811. Don't be that guy. Listen, here in Louisiana, there's so many lines that are buried very shallow beneath the surface, and if you don't know where they are, it'd be easy to hit one. Something bad happens after that. Power lines, you're knocking power out. Water lines, you're flooding your neighbor's yard. Gas lines, you could cause a small explosion and really seriously injure yourself. It's so easy to avoid. You call 811 48 hours before you plan to dig on your property. And you give the operator your address. They come out and mark the location of all the buried lines. It's easy to dig around them.
So, Hanny, I'm at the ballpark this weekend, and a guy comes up to me and says, "Thank you for telling me to call 811. I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Actually, we were doing some easy landscaping, something right close up against our house. And I thought, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to dig it, I'm going to place a plant, whatever it was in there." Had multiple lines right there by his house. Call 811 before you dig. You just never know. It's the law. Call 811.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology.
Coming up on Tuesdays Off the Bench, it's game week, and Coach O stops by to break it down. Plus, Derek Stingley Sr. in his regular Tuesday slot. My man Nick Underhill breaks down the Saints, and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. All right, we'll play NFL True or False. This is True or False from what you saw yesterday. True or False, the 2-0 Bears are a legitimate contender.
False.
False. Why?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky actually has had
Mitchell
his
Trubisky, Hanny.
Had his moments. Okay.
I do like their running game. I think Montgomery is a really good back, and Cohen is a nice piece as well. He just got an extension. They've got receivers that I like, but at the end of the day, Mitchell Trubisky is their trigger man.
True or false, the Green Bay Packers are a legitimate contender for the NFC title?
I think that's true, and I don't know how they're doing it the way they're doing it now. Devontae Adams and his health are going to be a big part in this, but last year they won 13 games, and I sat here and I said, how in the world do they continue to win games? But they find a way, and so they're 2-0. I realize the Vikings and the Lions will never be confused as world beaters, but right now, until they prove me wrong, I think that's truth.
16-4 under this coaching staff. You know, at some point you have to start to believe. True or false, the quarterback position is no longer the biggest area of need for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Truth.
Yeah, you're a Gardner Minshew guy?
I think I'm buying in. Now, how long can it last? I don't know. Can it be 3 years? I don't think it's going to be 10. I don't think you'll see him. It's not one of those deals where he's, a 15-year quarterback for the franchise like we see Eli Manning and Big Ben and Phillip Rivers, all those guys. But I think there's something to him. And he was a guy that won in college. He continues to prove us wrong in the NFL. I'm not saying it's long-term, but I think for the short term right now in the next 3 years, he's their guy.
True or false, the Colts' injuries at running back may be a blessing in disguise because Jonathan Taylor's going to run for 1,200 yards.
Truth. God, he looked good yesterday. He looked faster than he did at Wisconsin. Now, he's always been straight line fast, but he looked side-to-side fast yesterday, and he is a real weapon. They drafted him to be the guy. They thought they were going to ease him along because they had other guys. Mack had a 1,000-yard year last year, but he is now their guy, and he's not giving that job back.
True or false, Josh Allen will account for 50 touchdowns this year, rushing and passing.
Truth? Ron Burgundy?
He's got 7 in 2 weeks.
I tell you what, he is. The way he plays would make me nervous as a Bills fan for his health, because he doesn't care about his body, which you can appreciate. I mean, he is tough-nosed. He can make any throw. I mean, his arm talent is insane. He's incredibly athletic. I wonder how much they're going to say, hey, we love that you do that, but could you not take so many hits? But there's a real talent there, and adding Diggs to what they had, right, because that's what they wanted. They wanted a go-to number one receiver to go along with Beasley and some of the nice pieces they have in the running game. Now that he has a true number one, I think Buffalo's a real team.
True or false, with the injuries that they have encountered, the San Francisco 49ers are no longer a Super Bowl contender. Some of these are short-term, Garoppolo and Mostert. Some of these are long-term, Bosa and Sherman and others. They're no longer a Super Bowl contender.
Bosa made that team different. Now, let's not forget they traded Buckner to the Colts. And so you lose one piece of your Super Bowl defensive line. Then you lose Bosa, who is a top 5 pass rusher in all the NFL. That was a strength for them. Nobody wanted to play against them because they knew up front it was going to be a challenge. When you lose a guy like that, and then your offense has got some key pieces that are going to miss some time, and you start to get behind the 8 ball in the NFC, which is very, very talented this year, and it's going to be very difficult to be a top team in the NFC. I truly think that they right now are a 9-win football team unless something changes and they get healthy. But losing Bosa, that might be the biggest injury of all the injuries we had yesterday.
True or false, Jared Goff is now a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, top 10, false.
I tend to agree with you that he's a little bit on the outside, but he's off to a much better start than I would have expected. He looked really good. Yesterday was one of the better games that I have seen him play. I've always been a little bit skeptical where he's concerned, but the first 2 weeks, he's getting it done. True or false, the top defense in the NFL belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'll still go false. I think they're definitely up there. They're top 5, but I'll still go false.
Who do you like better? I mean, I might have said San Francisco before they lost half the doggone team.
I like Baltimore a lot.
Okay.
I think Baltimore's defense, and maybe it's PTSD from all them times I had to play against Baltimore, and it seemed like it didn't matter who they had out there.
I could see
they were
where
going to
you'd
look really good in their uniform, and they were going to be good.
I can see where you would be scarred for this. Okay, here's one that we actually talked about before the Saints-Bucks games. True or false, Leonard Fournette will run for over 1,000 yards in Tampa. Breakout game yesterday. Not non-existent in week 1. He'd only been there for a few days. Looked pretty good yesterday.
I can say truth. I think it's going to be split carry, so that might be my only reason why he doesn't get there. But he looked energized like I haven't seen him in a long time. It must be nice not to run in those 10-man boxes that he's run into for so long.
True or false, Justin Herbert should be the starting quarterback when the Chargers play next week?
Oh, truth.
It's not.
I know. I've already heard the news. Trust me. You rip the Band-Aid off, okay? It's probably, and Playboy and I were talking about this before this show, it's probably a really good thing that he didn't know he's going to be the starter. Like almost like, hey, kid, you're up. Like, what? Like he didn't have time to think about it. He didn't overthink it. He didn't chase ghosts. He looked really good yesterday. He looked mobile. I didn't know if what he did at Oregon as far as moving in the pocket and getting on the edge would work in the NFL. It worked against the defending Super Bowl champs. I thought he made some really nice throws. I was, pretty critical of where he was drafted. I didn't know if he was that talented. He proved me wrong. One game, I understand that, but he looked good yesterday. Tyrod Taylor is not your future. Herbert's your future. Go ahead. You've already ripped the Band-Aid off. Let him play.
True or false, the Arizona Cardinals are a playoff team?
Truth. And so going back to the 49ers, that's why I don't think that they are a Super Bowl contender because of the injuries. And Seattle and Arizona look really good. And, the Rams have started out 2-0 as well.
If they were in the NFC East, which for a long time in their existence they were, I'd say absolutely. The only thing that I love what they're doing right now, Kyler Murray looks fantastic. They've got a lot of pieces there. If they were in any other division, I would say for sure. But that division gives me just a little bit of cause.
And that's a very valid point. Another defense real quick, because I've had time to think about it, I would throw in there the Colts defense.
Okay. True or false, the Texans aren't as bad as they look because they've opened with Kansas City and Baltimore?
Hopkins. I'm just,
yeah.
You got rid of a player that is making such an impact for Arizona, a team we just got through talking about, and you're not going to tell me who's going to replace him. That team is different. Deshaun Watson does not have his favorite target. It's one of the worst moves in NFL history, and it has made your team 5 times worse.
That offensive line is bad. That offensive line.
And sometimes when you have a bad offensive line, you know what you can do? Throw it up to a really good receiver.
Last one, yes or no? True or false? Russell Wilson will win the MVP.
Truth.
Yeah, well, he looks fantastic.
Really
Some
good.
of those throws last night. Yikes. All right, back on the other side for hour number 3. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air, an independent dealer of the American heating and air conditioning system, the most efficient unit on the market. How do I know this? Well, let me tell you one thing. I'm not an expert when it comes to analyzing air conditioner units one by one by one by one. What I am an expert in is knowing what my bill does. And my bill started to go down immediately after I put this unit in my home. Efficiency and the programmable thermostat, which makes it easy for you to burn energy only when you are home. You ever need to change your schedule, you can do it by your smartphone. That's why I've been saving money with the American Standard from day one.
Saving money is important, and Tiger Air is going to do that for you. You always hear me talk about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan, right? The weather's getting just a little bit cooler. Those heaters are going to start to come on, right? So that seasonal maintenance is so important. Make sure that you give them a call today, 225-754-8687. Ask them about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan over at Tiger Air.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today. At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi with the latest on a rash of injuries in the NFL. The Giants have confirmed star running back Saquon Barkley has a torn ACL, will be out the remainder of the season. He'll have surgery soon. The loss of Barkley certainly impacts the development of Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, explains ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
Now teams can just completely play coverage and dare Daniel Jones and the Giants to try to be patient enough with a backup running back and a not good blocking offensive line. And so now your quarterback is kind of going to have to play the rest of the season with one hand tied behind his back.
Dan Orlovsky on Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Former Falcons running back Devontae Freeman will visit the Giants tomorrow. Broncos receiver Cortland Sutton has a torn ACL. His season's over. Denver QB Drew Lock, rotator cuff strain, out 3 to 5 weeks. The Panthers expected to be without running back Christian McCaffrey at least a month due to an ankle injury, reports Schefter. Captain Steven Stamkos joined his teammates for today's morning skate. His status for Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight against the Stars remains uncertain. Stamkos has been out with a lower body injury. Tampa Bay down in the series, 1-0.
Download the DraftKings app and use code MAX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Now, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannegriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannegriff.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Thanks for being with us on this Monday of game week. Hope you enjoy Coach O in the noon hour. And if you missed it, our new schedule starting next Monday. Hanging with Hester and Hanny will start at 10 o'clock on Mondays and go from 10 until noon. We'll give you the Coach O press conference in the noon hour, and then we'll come back for 2 more hours from 1 until 3. And the first 2 hours of the show will be from Sammy's on Highland. So we're looking forward to getting out, seeing Kevin Kimball and the guys.
That was my college spot.
Yeah,
that's where if we had a meal and we had some free time, wasn't a lot of free time, but if we had some, I was always going to Sammy. So I'm excited. New ownership. We know the group. We know they do great work. Can't wait to be over there.
Yeah, Wayne Stabler's family of restaurants never disappoints, and there's a lot of the old favorites on the menu at Sammy's, but there's a lot of new stuff too. So I'm looking forward to doing some more sampling. We went over there on a little recon mission not terribly long ago.
Does this mean I need to start working out even more? Because I've been told when you do a lot of remotes that you typically eat right after you do remotes. I know we don't typically won't have the time because we're trying to rush back over here to get in the studio.
Jacob, I realize it takes a certain amount of arrogance to be on the radio for a living for as long as I have, but the last thing I'm ever going to do is give you workout advice. Okay, come on. I'll stay over here in my lane. Most impressive thing you saw in the college football weekend, if anything stood out to you?
It's been a little bit of a watered down slate until this weekend. A couple things that did stand out to me. Yet again, another Big 12 team that's supposed to be a contender really struggles. Oklahoma State 16-7. The game wasn't that close. Tulsa just could not put the ball in the end zone, but defensively they did a hell of a job on Oklahoma State.
Are we going to give them any slack at all because they went 3 quarterbacks deep? I mean, they had a freshman. Ethan Bullock came on, I think. Ethan Bullock was the second quarterback. Shane Illingworth came on and put that, I think it was the first scoring drive together for them.
No, I don't give them any kind of leeway because you have one of the best running backs in the country.
Held in less than 3.5
You should be able to turn around, hand it off to Hubbard, and he should be able to get you what you need offensively to put up points. Remember, he had over 230 yards in this game a year ago, so he had success against this team. The Big 12 has really stumbled out of the gates. Now, we've seen some ACC schools play out-of-conference games. They have not struggled in the way look, Georgia Tech losing to UCF like they did, that's different than Tulsa hanging with you at home, a team that you should really annihilate.
The one for me was, if you had told me on Friday, what if I told you, that De'Aaron King was going to run for 9 yards in the game against Louisville, I'd have told you Miami was going to lose. And yet, not only did they not lose, they won in impressive fashion and put up 47 points in doing so. Watching him against UAB, he looked a little bit uncomfortable. He was inaccurate, but he made a lot of plays with his feet. I certainly didn't expect that they would get that much better against what is a step up in competition. King looked fantastic the other night. And, yeah, you got 2 breakdowns on defense where you get 2 75-yard plays, but you still got to make them. And I'm not wild about Miami's coach. I'm not wild about, what King did in the offseason to Houston. But I got to tell you, you go to Louisville and you put 47 points on the board, and King looked really, really good the other night. That would have been my one takeaway from Saturday night.
Another game, obviously this is a G5 game, and I know a lot of people across the country aren't talking about it, but credit to Louisiana Tech. They were missing a lot of people from their depth chart, their 1 and 2 depth chart, right? And
6, I believe it was.
Yeah, and they went out there and they beat Southern Miss in Hattiesburg. Now, I realize Southern Miss lost in the opening week, but they had a new head coach. They had a little bit of spring to them early in the game. Louisiana Tech got down, but they found a way to come back. They won that game, and being down as many people as they've been down, because remember, they had to cancel their game against Baylor because of their COVID-19 numbers, and they still found a way to put a team out there, go about their business, move forward, and get a big win.
Thought Duke looked terrible. That was one of my picks. All right, so
everybody on game day loved Boston College. Did you notice that?
I did. Didn't pay it any mind. I thought that they would come back. They were reasonable last week against Notre Dame. I thought, David Cutcliffe offense, they couldn't get out of their own way,
right?
On offense, and I don't expect that Boston College is this big defensive juggernaut either. So I thought Duke looked terrible. Thought the Raging Cajuns showed some heart coming back in the second half. I don't know how they came out so flat that they dug themselves that hole against Georgia State.
They almost just pulled a Troy. Remember when Troy came in and beat LSU? Of course you do. Everybody remembers that. A lot of people don't remember the next week they play at South Alabama and lose that game to a very bad South Alabama team. They read their own press clippings for over a week because that game was a Wednesday game. So they went a full week and then into the next week reading how great they were, right? Well, look, Louisiana Lafayette did the same thing. It's human nature. You get your first ever top 25 road win, that's what you're going to do. And it felt like they did that for really about 3.5 quarters. It felt like they weren't going to have the opportunity to come back in this game. So credit them. You're exactly right. They found a way when I didn't think there was a way. It just felt like Georgia State was destined to win that game.
We got to ask just how bad Florida State is at this point, because Georgia Tech beat them a week ago, and Georgia Tech got hammered on Saturday by UCF, who, I'm sorry, just aggravates me as a program. There's 4 minutes to go in the game, and they're up 3 scores, and they're running the hurry up like they got something to prove. Like 7 more points against Georgia Tech is going to – now you'll take us – stop.
So okay? I was yelling at the TV every time because Georgia Tech had so many opportunities to make this a game. In the first couple of minutes of the game, they go down, they score. Well, you have the ball in the red area, really from the 10-yard line twice, and you don't get any points. You had, I believe it was a fumble, then you had a blocked field goal, and that was your opportunity. But I'm yelling at the TV, and Katie comes in and she goes, "Do you have money on this game or something?" I said, "No, I dislike UCF that much that I'm yelling at this TV."
They're aggravating.
They are.
They're aggravating. I'm not going to take you any more serious that you tacked a touchdown late.
They still talk about the Fiesta Bowl like they won the game because they had a hit on Joe Burrow. That was a cheap shot that if I could have went and fought that defensive lineman, I would have done that. They talk about things like that, like they actually won a game. You're not the national champs. You're the 4th biggest school in Florida as far as college football. Florida State's horrible, and people are still going to talk about them over you.
Yeah, Georgia Tech did beat Florida State, and UCF did hammer Georgia Tech. We don't like to do the transitive property in college football too much. It gets you in trouble. But not only is Florida State out of the gate 0-1, now they're without their coach for 2 weeks, is Mike Norvell, who's had, man, outside of Mike Price at Alabama, I don't know that anybody else has had a worse, first 9 months of their tenure. and Price didn't even make it 9 months, than Norvell has had at Florida State. So they're going to be without him for a couple of weeks.
Hey, let me ask you this, Hanny, before we move on. That conversation we had about Miami, you, me, and Hunt, we're going back and forth. Will they ever be back? How do you feel right now about Florida State? Knowing who they have now at head coach, knowing the mess that they've been since before Jimbo left. If we don't give Jimbo a pass, Jimbo's last year, they were what, 6-6?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it's going to take to get Florida State back, and will they be back?
The right coach. The right coach that goes in there, it's a program that you can win at. The ACC is just absolutely clamoring for somebody to be Clemson's co-pilot. Give me somebody.
Notre Dame's the best thing that's happened to them.
And that's just a 1 year. It's a 1 year fix, yeah. So for this year, it's Notre Dame. But back when we get to normal time, look at what North Carolina was able to do. Why? Because Mac Brown's a good coach. Okay, got a little burnout at the end at Texas. Got a little bit sloppy in recruiting. But look with rejuvenated North Carolina. I mean, it took him no time to make them a contender. Again, Clemson aside, but just a contender for second place.
Right.
The right coach comes in to Miami or Florida State, and it's right for the pickings. If they were in the SEC West, then no, okay, but they're not. There are 6, 7 easily winnable games for those Florida schools with the right coach. You will have a talent advantage over 6 to 7 of your 8 opponents every single year with the right guy.
So right now, you look at those two programs, and they have been bad over the last couple of seasons. They have not even looked like their former selves at all. Which one right now is the better job, and which one in 5 years is the better job?
Florida State's still the better job because as tough as their facilities budget has been, it's still better than Miami's, okay? They've still got that on-campus. Playing an hour away from your campus, I'm sorry, is hard. I think it was you was talking about the Orange Bowl last week, and man, that's real. Okay, that what are is it the Hard Rock Stadium, the Dolphin Stadium? I mean, they've changed the name of that
Hard
thing
Rock
100 times, but that's not a home field advantage for them, and I think that your budget is never going to quite be what Clemson's is at Miami, but Florida State can get closer. They've been more relevant more recently. I mean, Jameis Winston won a national title for them in 2013. That wasn't all that long ago. I think it's a better job now. I don't know. They're not a better team this year, but I think it's a better job today. I think it's a better job in 5 years.
Neither program really spends a lot on facilities and trying to recruit to those facilities. That was Jimbo Fisher's biggest complaint. You're not building me what I need to compete with LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, all the teams that kind of surround me and come into the state of Florida and try to take my players out of Florida. They still don't do those type of things. And I never thought we'd get to a point where shiny toys is the number one thing in recruiting, but it kind of is. Or these teams wouldn't spend all these obviously winning is the biggest thing, but multi-million dollars on these facilities. And it's such an arms race now. It wasn't like that. And I realized I was getting recruited almost 20 years ago, but it wasn't like that, right? You almost didn't even care. It's like, you got a weight room, cool. You got some weights, awesome. You got a 45-pound plate, okay, good. That's all I need. It's not like that anymore. And Florida State doesn't put the resources into their program to be that team that we know when Bobby Bowden was there, and they were in the top 5 or bust every single year.
They don't. One of the things that they have that they, I think, could tap into that apparently they haven't is an unbelievable NFL alumni player base. All of it was one of the things that Ogeron did here that Les had sort of kind of fallen off on, which is bring the former players back into the
Les
fold.
for sure did.
If you remember what happened at Nebraska when Bill Callahan basically said, "I'm sorry, if you played here in the 60s or 70s, we can't have you in the building," and stuff like that. As soon as they got rid of him, they started to embrace that. Florida State I don't get the impression that Norvell is one of them. Okay,
right.
Not that it has to be a Florida State alum or anything like that, but it's got to be somebody that can say, listen, this is what we were for a long time. Yeah. We need to bring back. Deion Sanders took the job at Jackson State, okay, which is a topic we're going to get into tomorrow. Yeah. But wouldn't you want, and I'm not saying they should have hired Deion as a head coach, but wouldn't you want Deion Sanders as a part of your program?
No,
Charlie Ward as a part of your program. Warwick Dunn.
There's not a better human walking this earth than Warwick Dunn. And you're exactly right. That stuff matters. And let's let that slide a little bit. And Coach O, the first thing he did is like, wait a minute, no, we're not going to do that. After the national championship victory, it was the who's who of former LSU players in the locker room. You know what Coach O did? He went around the room. Hey, say what this means to you. What's this mean to you? What's this mean to you? And he let those guys. That was who was talking in the locker room after the national championship game. That stuff matters. On the sideline of the national championship game, if you counted all the contract money that was on that sideline, you're talking about $500 million. I mean,
now Miami can do that too because they've got NFL alumni. From here.
Yeah, but you have to be open to doing that. You can't worry about this guy starred for Les Miles. Oh, that guy starred for Nick Saban. That guy played for whoever, right? Coach O don't care who they play for. All he cares about is the LSU on the side of their helmet and what they did for the purple and gold. You can't have that personality. Like you mentioned, Bill Callahan in Nebraska. Why are you here? Eric Crouch, why are you here? You're not playing here anymore. Are you kidding me? No. That's who built the foundation of your program.
And at Florida State and Miami, you also have to do one other thing with those NFL alumni. You have to ask them for money. I mean, listen, Tyrann Mathieu donated $1 million to LSU. It was a wonderful thing for him to do. But if he hadn't done that, LSU would have been just fine. Okay? Right. Florida State, they probably need 50 alumni to go and donate $500,000 apiece just so they can get back on track. Miami, too, for that matter. We'll take a break. Be back with more Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Tune in Thursday night as Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars host Ryan Fitzmagic Fitzpatrick and the Miami Dolphins. The NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town, USA.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Game day, Monday Night Football. Saints, Raiders. We're previewing the matchup and recapping your football weekend. So join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and our friends at Citizens Bank invite you to nominate someone for a Good Citizens Award. They could receive $500 from Citizens Bank and we'll recognize them live on air. Get all the details at citizensbankandtrust.com and nominate your good citizen.
I'm going to read you a list of players, and I want you to tell me what you think they all have in common. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. Case Keenum, Marcus Mariota, Chase Daniel, Jeff Driscoll, Andy Dalton, Colt McCoy.
They all make a lot of money as a backup quarterback.
Okay, you're on the right. You're on the right track here. Those are all quarterbacks.
They all end up at Del Mar races because that's where all backup NFL quarterbacks start their season.
Well, that's probably true, but not what I was going for. All guys that were signed this offseason to play quarterback in the National Football League for more money than Cam Newton.
Yep.
If you watch Cam Newton over the first 2 weeks of the season, he looks a lot like the old Cam Newton. Watching him last night, not just the fact that he's running the football as much as he is shocking to me. And I'm still not sure that that's not going to backfire on New England at some point. But in the meantime, he looks like the old Cam. And especially on those short yardage situations where, and I know the last one failed, okay? And it's easy to second guess now.
Yeah, bad job by the fullback.
Yeah, well, the fullback missed, but also that, man, a play action, because you know what Seattle is waiting on. They're waiting on Cam. Play action might have been wide open, but who knows? But it reminds me of the time, and you'll relate to this, when Tim Tebow was at Florida. It seemed like for the 3 years he was a full-time starter there, 3rd down and 3 or less, they converted about 90% of the time. I mean, everything third and short, he made. He made most of them running.
I just started twitching thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean,
really,
they didn't get stopped on 3rd and short, but about maybe once a month while he was there. Newton provides that same thing. You just every time they got into 3rd, and this is in the NFL, every time they get into 3rd and short, he's going to convert it. Yeah. But that's not what is the most surprising thing. He looked sharp delivering the football. He looked like
zip back.
Yeah, he looked like a guy that was finally healthy for the first time in 3 years. The shoulder was the first thing that gave him problems, and that made him that really sapped his arm strength. But the bigger problem for me was the foot. When the foot gave him problems, he started sailing everything, which is what happens to quarterbacks when you can't plant without pain. He looked like a guy whose shoulder felt good, whose foot felt good, and man, you put that guy healthy out there. Seattle is a Super Bowl contender. There's no question about it. New England went in there, and I know there's no fans and everything, but gave them everything they wanted last night. Is one play away from winning in Seattle.
Yard away.
Yeah, 1 yard away.
1 yard away from winning, and you saw the MVP Cam Newton. Now, is he going to play to that level? I don't know. But I tell you what, he looks healthy for the first time in a very long time, and more his arm. We know he can run the football. We know that's something he can do. And by the way, I would not take that out of the offense just because he's racking up all the hits on him, because remember, you got Jarrett Stidham ready to be the starter for this team. So if you had to go to Jarrett Stidham, you feel okay about that situation because you felt good enough to let Tom Brady go and not draft a quarterback. So you like what you have in Jarrett Stidham. We don't know what that is yet, but you liked him enough not to draft a quarterback. Okay, so don't change, because Cam running allows him to be at his best. that's when he is at his very best because he gives you such a dynamic option to run or throw the football. And now that he has his arm strength back, some of those passes to Edelman, I don't know if he makes those the last 2 years. He put it right on the money. In fact, the last drive, I know it was a two-seamer up pretty high, but Edelman makes that catch 9 times out of 10. And Cam is now having the ability to push the ball down the field. And look, this team, I didn't really know who they were going to be, but last night they showed they're going to be in it. It's not just going to be the Buffalo Bills running away with the East. I thought that was going to be the case when we started this season. Cam looks as good as he's looked in 4 or 5 years.
He also looks happier. You listen to him now.
He's bought into the Patriots way.
COVID cost Cam probably $20 million because if Cam had been able to go to a facility and work out, you don't even have to be a coach to say, oh, wow, look, he's back. And if you had sat down with him and been able to talk to him and say, hey, man, listen, you've been beat up pretty good the last 2 years. Your heart's still in this? Is your head still in this? If he would have talked to a coach like he has talked to the media since he's been in New England, you would have said, physically and mentally, this guy's back. And if physically and mentally he's right, he's a top half dozen quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's necessarily all the way to top 6 right now off of 2 games, but if he can put that together if he just stays healthy, if he can start 16 games for the Patriots this year, they're in the playoffs. I mean, now again, the thing that would concern me is he is 31 years old and he's got a lot of miles on him. I don't know that I would be comfortable running him this much because over 16 games he's going to get beat up. I kind of pick my spots, You don't
take it out, but
The third down and 3 in the first quarter from the 35-yard line. I'm not sure I need Cam taking a big hit, okay? If it's a tie ball game early in the fourth quarter, that's a different situation. But
you also have Sony Michel in your backfield. He only got 7 carries. Now, he wasn't effective in those 7 carries, only had 19 yards, 2.7 per carry, but that is a legit NFL starting running back. You could utilize him in those situations, like you're saying, if you're going to run the football, pick your spots, allow him to get going a little bit. Now, don't take Cam out of the running game because I do think that is why they're going to be successful. But you do have a running back that you can count on, right? It's not the Patriots of old where you just kind of have 7 third down backs. It feels like you don't have a first and second down go-to guy. They have that in Michelle, so I'm surprised they haven't utilized him more.
For everybody that was hoping that the Patriots would just go away, they're not.
But hey. Belichick and Tom Brady yesterday probably felt, obviously Belichick wants to win the game, but, it's kind of playing out that, both of them had success. I know the Bucs stalled there against the Saints, but that's, how competitive those two are. Yeah. They want to have success without the other.
Take a break. Come back, take a look at Saints and Raiders tonight. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GoTro's Outdoor Power and our friends over at Skag making it so much easier now than it ever has been to own one of those Skag zero-turn units, whether it's residential or commercial. First of all, they're going to give you 60 months interest-free financing, the super warranty for 60 months as well, free delivery, and service after the sales with the biggest parts department anywhere in the state. And if you're one of our first responders, if you are police, fire, military, retired, or active, or in our first responders in the medical field, you will get 15% off MSRP on all units.
That's right, Hanny. If you're listening to us in Baton Rouge, Airline at Industriaplex in Baton Rouge is the location. Airline at 74 in Gonzales. Go stop by the showroom. You're going to find something you love. But if you're not in the Baton Rouge area, remember free delivery. Hanny just mentioned that. Go to GoTrosOutdoorPower.com to check out all the Skags they have to offer. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When it's clearance time, smart customers rush to Richards Honda because all your favorite Honda models are at fantastic prices. And with our fanatical customer care, it's no wonder people call Richards Honda the smart choice.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Your Honda needs some TLC, and Richards Honda is the smart place to get it. With oil changes at just $39. And with so many service bays, you'll be in and out super fast. Schedule your appointment today at richardshonda.com.
Join us for a Monday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from Superior Grill on Highland Road for our Monday Night Football watch party. Come watch the game or tune in from 6 to 8 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Well, we've been there twice. It's not like it's the first time we have seen it. We know what a great place it is, and I think we understand the responsibility of, playing well here. But I'm not going to be real deep and overly philosophical. We got to play a hell of a football team coming in here, and that's got to be where our focus is, the Saints.
John Gruden talking about opening the new stadium, Legion Stadium in Las Vegas tonight. First ever NFL game in the state of Nevada. If you've seen the skyline views with the strip in the background, and it's a awesome looking stadium. I've seen just a few clips inside, but on the outside, the one in Los Angeles is sweet. I mean, it sucks that they've got to open these beautiful buildings with nobody in them or next to nobody in them, man.
How about the Chargers going from the basement to the penthouse?
They get the facility upgrade, but they couldn't even fill a soccer stadium. That's the only thing. Yesterday, they actually, I think it was Peter King put it in his column this morning I was reading, said, they actually maybe have dodged a little bit of an embarrassment, because if they had opened yesterday with full fan participation, the Chiefs would have outdrawn them.
Oh, well, that's going to happen, regardless of where you play for the Chargers.
Okay, but for the brand new stadium, you would have gotten even more Chiefs fans traveling than usual.
Yeah.
Off the Super. Let's say COVID never happens, the Chiefs would have probably bought as many tickets as you would sell them.
Yeah, let's move on from that talk, because there's like 7 teams we could have that conversation with that would have outsold the Chargers. But as far as Gruden and being in the stadium a couple of times, obviously there's going to be a couple things that are different. So the first time I played in Jerry's world, it was different. It's like, okay, I was on the kickoff return, and you're back there, you're catching kicks, and you lose sight of the ball. Okay, I've got to figure out a way that I can track the ball better. Well, he can say, yeah, they've been in there twice. They don't have a good feel for that stadium. So I don't think it's any kind of home field advantage for them. I'm sure the Saints are going to try to get as many punt returns, kick returns as they can in pregame, obviously, but it's going to play a little bit different. The sightlines are going to be different for both teams. It takes some getting used to these new stadiums that they have, retractable roofs and all the type of different things that, you're going to have in all the new stadiums as far as, okay, how does the ball look? Do I lose it in a certain point? Are we going to punt the ball too high and hit the big screen like we've seen done in Dallas a couple times?
One of the biggest numbers I think tonight is that we will look at this tomorrow and see how many yards did Josh Jacobs run for. One of the most talented young backs in the league, but the Saints haven't allowed a 1,000-yard rusher in over 2 seasons. Jacobs will take on a Saints defense that John Gruden has got a lot of respect for.
Well, they have a great scheme, number one. Like I said, Dennis Allen does a great job. They got corner blitzes, double corner blitzes. They got a 3-down package where they cover everybody up. They got every coverage known to man. They have excellent perimeter defenders. So when you do pick up a blitz, you're throwing at Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins, you're throwing at Malcolm Jenkins. They got a great post safety. This post safety is an outstanding player. The linebackers can knock your teeth out. And they have an excellent defensive line. And, Rankins is a first-rounder. Davenport, if he plays, they traded up to get him in the first round. Jordan is a first-rounder, and they're well-coached. They're very disciplined. They like to hit, and they don't make mistakes. End of story. I'm starting to get a little sore stomach here.
Saints defense was pretty good in week 1. So we talk about what the Raiders try to do to you here. To me, it all stops and starts with Jacobs. That's the guy for them.
He's their guy. He's their guy, not only in the run game, but they're going to throw the football to him as well. He's somebody they really count on in that situation. So he had 4 catches in the opening week. That was second on the team, only behind their Pro Bowl tight end. So Saints look to play a little bit more in the box to open it up because you're going to make Derek Carr beat you. Now, the Raiders want to pound the football, and they want to throw it deep to their speed receiver, Henry Ruggs, and they want to get crossing patterns with Waller, their very talented tight end. That is kind of the MO of John Gruden. It's what he's done for a long time. And if you're the Saints, you cannot allow Josh Jacobs to beat you. If Henry Ruggs runs past your defense and they connect on 1 of 5 of those, you live with it, you tip your cap, and you move to the next series. You cannot allow Josh Jacobs to run all over you in between the tackles, and then on 3rd and 6, let him get out into the flats, make a guy miss, and pick up 11 yards with a reception. He is their best player. He is the guy that cannot beat you in this game on Monday night.
All right, so we know that Michael Thomas will not play for New Orleans. Sean Payton was critical of himself in his play calling in the opener. Here's what Payton had to say about changing things up a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, there's games where you feel like you get into a rhythm, and I thought we ran the ball pretty well. I didn't really help us out any with some of the looks and some of the calls I made. Look, there's a handful of plays that we're going to watch on tape, and it's not going to be the players. It's on me. So I've got to be a lot better.
Your thoughts about what they may do to compensate for Michael Thomas being out?
Get a Catholic priest in there, and we've said it. You got to have a guy step up. But with the Saints, we have seen that it doesn't have to necessarily be a receiver. Now, you would like a receiver to step up, but Cook, Kamara, Taysom Hill, they're going to have to play a bigger role in this game, and they're going to have to try to take up as much slack with Michael Thomas not being in there. Emmanuel Sanders is a very veteran player in this league. Do I think he's a number 1 receiver anymore? No, I don't, but he's a very good receiver. He's got to step his game up. Deontay Harris is a guy that you love, and I'm with you there. He's the guy that can take the top off the defense, kind of take that Ted Ginn role from a year ago. The offense is not going to look the same. You don't lose the best receiver in football and come out better on the other side, but you do have to have your guys, a lot of guys, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, that you just paid extra money to, gave him a little bump, right? They've got to step up and take over in this stretch, just like Teddy Bridgewater did last year.
final injury report, you heard Gruden ask about Marcus Davenport. That audio is obviously from yesterday. Davenport has been ruled out for this game along with Michael Thomas. Cesar Ruiz is back, though. He will be available to New Orleans tonight. For the Raiders, their biggest problem on the offensive line, right tackle Trent Brown, is doubtful, as well as his backup, Sam Young. So two guys at the same position. And Henry Ruggs is being talked about right now as a game-time decision. He is questionable. He was out of practice Thursday and Friday. He was limited on Saturday, so probably won't know for sure until game time.
And that changes who they are on offense, because he is without question their deep threat. Brian Edwards from South Carolina, that is not his strength. Hunter Renfrow, that's not his strength, right? And they got, by the way, Lynn Bowden has been traded to the Miami Dolphins. He was a third-round pick. They've actually already traded him to the Miami Dolphins. And so when you look at that room, it's going to look a little bit different. Ruggs is key to what John Gruden wants to do. So if he is out, that is a big, big positive for the Saints.
We'll take a break. We come back, ask us in the Bayou Ford chat, plus our random generator here today. Yeah.
I also have something to announce. So my foundation is auctioning off a Clyde Edwards-Helaire signed Kansas City framed jersey. And so we do these all the time. It's $5 per entry, as many entries as you want. I believe we had 165 entries. So thank you for the support of our foundation. That means a lot. We give back to youth sports, and we are trying to create that footprint in Baton Rouge like we did in Shreveport. So we had a very successful first launch. We were able to give back. This is our second launch, and we'll announce that winner. I've got we like random things here, random generator for the questions. I have a random wheel. I put all the names in. Okay. It's going to spin. Playboy Mart is going to put it up on the TV, and we're going to find out who won the jersey.
Now, the jersey, you spell the name right?
They actually spelled it with an E and not an I, so it is spelled right on this jersey.
We'll take a break, come back with Ask Us here, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. You know, I was reading over the weekend about how hot the real estate market is here in Baton Rouge. Some houses being sold in a day. Some houses being sold up almost as soon as they are on the market. And the reason for this, of course, in large part is due to the interest rates. If you've ever been thinking about buying a new home, you may have more purchasing power than you've ever had before. Contact a qualified counselor locally here at GMFSmortgage.com. You'll answer a few questions. They'll tell you exactly what you are pre-qualified for, and then you can go shopping. Maybe a new home is not what you want right now, but a refi could save you money every single month. Not just the long-term savings, but the ability to skip a mortgage payment or two on a refinance could free up some cash in the short term. Do what I did. Do what thousands of others have done, and better your financial situation today by starting that journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on them.
Coming up on Tuesdays Off the Bench, it's game week, and Coach O stops by to break it down. Plus, Derek Stingley Sr. in his regular Tuesday slot. My man Nick Underhill breaks down the Saints, and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Before we get to Ask Us, it's time to give away the jersey. Look what we can make it do here on the screen. This is neat. Playboy Marty, you responsible for this technology? Yeah?
Yeah. He came up with. All right, so we've got every entry inside of our wheel. We've got a nice picture of the Clyde Edwards-Helaire jersey right there in the middle. So we're going to hit the button. It's going to spin around. And remember, the more entries you have, obviously, the more times your name is in here. So let's go ahead and see who wins the Clyde Edwards-Helaire jersey. Oh, look at that. I feel fancy. I feel like, Pat Sajak, is that the Wheel of Fortune guy?
Vanna White.
Let's see here.
A little bit.
Oh, there we go.
Mike
Congratulations, Mike. It was almost Hercules Gomez there. And if you're not a soccer fan, you might not know who that is. He has played for the U.S. men's national team, and he was good enough to donate to the foundation. He almost got it. But, Mike, you are the winner. We'll reach out to you. We'll find out how we can get this jersey to you. We'll ship it to you. Or if you're in Baton Rouge, you can pick it up.
Very good.
Congrats.
All right. Good start. All right. You ready for Ask Us?
Sure.
Okay. Ask Us in the Bayou Ford chat. Ask Jake, what is the strangest or funniest pregame ritual that you've ever witnessed?
Oh, man. I always thought it was funny. So in the NFL, it was when you played in Denver, everybody it affected them in a different way because of how high up you were. But the line of IVs when you played in Denver, when you were the visiting team, it would be like wrapped around the corner. Everybody's trying to get extra fluids because it was going to affect everybody a little bit differently. And so that was always something that stood out. I mean, every guy had different ones. Some guys like to do the smelling salts right before they went out. Some guys would put actually like 10 smelling salts in like a water bottle, shake them up, and they just pass it around the locker room, and it'd start making your eye twitch. Everybody's a little different. I like to calm down before games. So that's why I listen to Elvis before games. I listen to like old blues songs because I like to be in my woosah moment because it was going to be 60 minutes of hell once the headphones came off.
Chris says, ask us, how long will it be before the Saints make the trip back to Vegas? 8 years, I think. You play.
It's 8.
It's you play every division in the other conference on a rotation. So the next time the Raiders will come to New Orleans. So it's 8 years.
That's why you had your trip planned. That's why I had me and my son set up for the Chargers Saints game in the Superdome because it's a long time before you come back.
Todd said, ask us how cold does it need to be outside for you to make a pot of chili?
I'm a big chili fan. Like chili, if I'm cooking and I'm coming over to your house, you ask me to bring something, that's like my go-to. That's what I'm best at. So it doesn't have to be really that cold because that's what I'm good at.
I'll eat chili when it's hot, so it doesn't even matter. George says, ask us, which character from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out do you most identify with?
Mike Tyson, you got to be the alpha.
Okay, so I'm not interested in fighting people that are a lot bigger than me, so probably the little guy, was it Little Mac on the other side? And as a follow-up, ask us, would you box Coach O? Hell no.
Hey, no. Coach O has that look of somebody that he is going to find a way to win. That's like with my dad. My dad is always, he's going to grab whatever's near him. He's going to find a way to win. And every time I'm like, man, don't cheat. He's like, it ain't about cheating. It's about winning and losing.
Yeah. Brian says, ask us, prediction for tonight's game.
I like the Saints actually score more than I think people are giving them credit for. I like it 31-24 Saints.
Saints have now
with the Raiders getting a late garbage touchdown.
Come back to a 4-point favorite. New Orleans a 4-point favorite there. Ask us, favorite kind of pizza.
Sweep the kitchen. I like get everything and just throw it on top of there.
There's no kind of pizza that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm wholly anchovies and black olives, but other than that, I'll
anchovies
anything else.
I could do without, but I'm not going to not eat it. Black olives on a Johnny's pizza.
Yeah. Ask Jake, when's your, this is from Brian, when's your next Foundation's next giveaway? I'd like to buy some tickets.
Yeah, we try to spread them out a little bit. We usually do one a month, so we'll definitely have one in October. The first one in August was a Joe Burrow signed LSU mini helmet. Then we kind of upped the stakes and we went with a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, frame jersey, obviously, that we just gave away. So we'll have one in October. Suggestions on who you want to see an item from, shoot them to us. We'll get it.
Ask us, do you play any instrument? And if not, what would you want to play and excel at?
I can play like 3 chords barely on a, like I can play everybody can play on a guitar. Everybody can play that though.
I took guitar lessons as a kid. I was not very good.
My fingers are too fat. I got sausage hands.
Look at me. I wasn't very good. I'd love to be able to play the piano though. That would be great if I could play any. If I could just automatically have talent to play anything, I'd love to be able to play the piano.
Would you rather, I'm going to ask my own question here, be the world's best singer, the world's best instrument player, so musician, right? You can play let's say electric guitar better than anybody in the world, Jimi Hendrix, or the world's best actor? You got your choice.
Probably singer.
Singing's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I can
pull up on the street and I
can't carry a tune in a bucket, so that would be fantastic. Ask us, have you ever seen the Elvis live in concert movies? This one's for you.
Yeah, I've seen. If there's something Elvis, I've seen it. I've seen him out in Vegas. What do they call it? Cirque du
Soleil.
Yeah, seen the Elvis show there. I have the 68 comeback special on every VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. I've seen it all, and I'll continue to watch it.
Ask us, over under 75 total punt return yards tonight. Playboy Marty, this is in your wheelhouse. Over under 75.
That's a lot. But
who's returning punts for the Raiders? I don't even know.
It seems extremely high. I'll go under.
Deontay Harris was really good in week 1. I don't know who's returning punts for the Raiders. Playboy Marty says go under on that. Ask us, favorite candy to eat at the movies.
Ooh. I'll go popcorn with goobers like mixed in. A little salty and sweet.
It's a Junior Mint.
Oh, Junior Mints are so good. I forgot Junior Mints. Junior Mints are really good.
Ask us, what do you prefer, chili or gumbo?
Oh God, it's like picking my favorite child.
Yeah,
if somebody knows what they're doing as far as a gumbo's going to win out almost every time.
It's gumbo for me. I like both too, but it's gumbo for me. Ask us, is Besh planning on bringing you guys any food on Friday? I doubt it.
No. By the way, the Raiders punt returner, if I'm looking at this right, is Hunter Renfrow. Under.
Clemson guy? Okay. But okay, this is like, so if one guy takes one to the house, that's pretty much going to be it.
I know I'm going to put my foot in my mouth, and it's going to happen. Rich Bisaccia, who is the special teams coordinator for the Raiders, is one of the best in the business. So I'm putting my faith in him. He's going to stop the Saints returner, and I know Hunter Renfrow is not going to get loose.
Ask us, are the Raiders actually any good?
We'll see tonight. Carolina told us nothing. We'll see tonight against the Saints.
Well, they gave up 30 points to Carolina. And the Carolina I watched yesterday, the Bucs are much better on defense, I would think. than the Raiders, but that would give me a little bit of pause that they gave up that many points in that Carolina game. Teddy Bridgewater, who is normally very good at taking care of the football, did not yesterday. Turned it over 4 times. So I don't know. That just seemed like a lot of points to give up. See if the Saints can get to 2-0 tonight. Got time for one more? You got time for one on the random?
On the random, absolutely.
Okay.
Is cereal soup?
No.
Cereal is fantastic. It is a glorious standalone meal that is best right before you go to bed.
Plus, if you're eating cold soup, there's something probably not.
Yeah,
something's probably
that
off
sounds like
somewhere.
some fancy stuff you'll see somewhere not in Louisiana. So no, it is not soup.
Thanks to everybody for participating. For Cade Wazan, for Playboy Morty and Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we are so excited to welcome Garcia to the Hangin' with Hester and Hanny team. Garcia Roofing, Siding, and Gutters. I can tell you a personal story for me. I just bought a new house, right? The inspector said, well, it looks like you might need a new roof. A company went out there from the seller, and they said, oh, all you need is shingles. I said, wait a minute. I've got to get Garcia out there to tell me if that is, in fact, only thing that we need. They get on this roof, and they say, no, this is one of the worst roofs that I've ever seen. You need so much more than just shingles. You need a complete new roof. You need everything replaced on this roof. So if I went with the other people, I'm going to put it on my house, just the new shingles, and in a couple of years, maybe not even a couple of years, maybe months, I was going to need a complete replacement. The attic was not getting ventilation like it was supposed to. Thank goodness I called Garcia.
Call Garcia at 225-756-3100. That's 756-3100. Or online, it's garciadidmyroof.com.
When it's clearance time, smart customers rush to Richard's Honda because all your favorite Honda models are at fantastic prices. And with our fanatical customer care, it's no wonder people call Richard's Honda the smart choice.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly